Bookie Beatdown coming at you. Paul, Cody, UFC 327 from the Kaseya Center in Miami, Florida. Awesome card. We were just talking about it like just before we got on air. It's just like great card. Lots of big names, lots of familiar names, lots of guys that we have broken down a ton of times. There's like question marks on so many of these people. So, I think it's pretty volatile. You can make the case for just about everybody. I would say just about everybody. There's no minus 1,000 favorite on this card this week. Like, we have closely lined fights, good matchmaking, and a lot of asterisks and question marks, and it should be a hell of a lot of fun. But we're here to try to make some money. Cody, how you doing this week?
Yeah, good, Paul. Like you said, it's a really good-looking card, star-studded, good names from top to bottom. But again, what you and I are looking at is a hill. Now, we need to figure out which one of these guys are over said hill, because this is more so a card if you rewind it 2 years ago. For example, the second fight on the card is Kelvin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque. What? 2 years ago? This is headlining a fight night at the Apex. Tatiana Suarez is a title challenger. Mateusz Gamrot could be headlining at the Apex. Kevin Holland was everyone's darling for a bit. You got a Bellator champion, Patricio Pitbull versus Pico. And those are only the prelims. So yeah, when you're talking about a pay-per-view offering and wanting people to be enticed to buy, or in Canada you have to buy it, in the US you're good on Paramount Plus, and depending on where you are, I'm just saying it has to have that feel of it's more than just some regular card. So you're in Miami, Florida, you got some good representation from American Top Team and Kill Club FC, good name brand fighters. But again, when you're talking on a who's trustworthy standpoint, is Cub Swanson trustworthy? Is Nate Landwehr, Dominick Reyes, Johnny Walker, Curtis Blaydes, Aaron Pico with that chin of his, Kevin Holland, does he have the desire to fight? Mateusz Gamrot getting older, Tatiana Suarez, how much of a need does she got left over? That's where it becomes difficult. So like you said, on a betting perspective, it's pretty close on the line for the most part, very competitive back and forth fights, and of course a path of victory for each fighter. We just got to outline who is over the hill and who we are going to fade this week, Paul Shaughnessy, because otherwise it's going to be one to be excited for.
Yeah. Main event. We got a straight pick'em. Jiri Prochazka taking on Carlos Ulberg for the vacated light heavyweight championship of the world. I mean, it's a Jiri fight. Jiri is an absolute legend at this point. Do you know, Cody? He's never been to decision in the UFC. Last time he went to decision was a 2-round fight in a tournament in Ryzen in 2016. Before that, it was 2012. He doesn't go to decision. He puts himself in harm's way to try to get the job done against everybody that he fights. Whether that happens over or under 2.5 rounds, I don't really know, because sometimes that chin is there, sometimes his opponent's chin is there, but the guy's got the dog in him. You can't really, you can't talk crap about anything that Jiri's ever done in his UFC career. Did I necessarily think that he was quote unquote championship material? No, but this guy's always going to come out. He's always going to give you a violent, crazy fight. Ulberg, probably a better technician. Actually, definitely a better technician. He's going to be cleaner, landing strikes early, but it's Jiri's just so awkward, so difficult, and he may be able to get some grappling going if he wants to do it. On top of that, I know that he's been training in Mexico City, so it's if you had some questions about his cardio before, and this being 5 rounds, it's well, he's been doing his entire camp at 10,000 feet altitude. On the money line, for the purpose of this show, it's not even anything that I'm clicking right now. I'm more interested in trying to navigate this live. I'm going to go with Jiri and say that Jiri survives early and probably gets a finish late. I'm interested very much so in the fight doesn't go to the decision, because it's minus 325, minus 350 in some spots right now. And I mean, it's never happened. And now we have 5 rounds to work with. Just I think Ulberg either gets him out of there super, super early, or we get into round 3, 4, and 5, and Jiri somehow battered, bruised, but not defeated, comes back and gets a finish himself. Your thoughts here?
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of how I see it going. I think I'm edging more towards Ulberg, but exactly how you see it. I think if you want to live bet this thing, Yuri Prochazka is live to win at 3-4-5 because the guy's a human tornado. He's always had good cardio, but yeah, he makes a lot of mistakes in all of his fights. His thing is that he will break your will. You're way more prone to fold under the pressure than he is. So the longer this thing goes, he just finds a way. Problem is that, like I said, he makes a lot of mistakes and he's sloppy at times. In his last 5 fights, he has the 2 losses to Alex Pereira. Well, let's just take those out of the equation for the sake of right now. We'll just talk about his 3 wins. Those 3 wins against Alexander Rakic, he loses the first round. Like, he's kind of sitting at distance. He's getting chopped up by leg kicks. He's not in his rhythm. And then eventually he turns it on. Well, Rakic is on a 4-fight losing streak. Hasn't won a fight in 5 years. His fight with Jamal Hill, he loses round 2 against Jamal Hill, finishes him in the 3rd. His fight with Khalil Roundtree, he lost the first 2 rounds against Khalil Roundtree, finishes him in the 3rd. So, like, if you have cardio issues or you have durability issues, Yuri's constant onslaught, that kind of storm, the off-base rhythm, in the beginning, you can get a jab going. You can start trying to figure it out, but you don't figure it out. You don't get his timing. And when he hits that flow state, yeah, he's just got too many weapons in his arsenal. But those are all guys that were able to get broken under pressure. Well, Khalil Roundtree is not known for his gas tank, and Jamal Hill's at the tail end. And Rakic, as we mentioned, hasn't won a fight in 5 years. So they all folded under the pressure. I'm not sure that Carlos Ulberg does. Yeah, people will look at his first career loss of the fight with Kennedy and Njoku and point in that one. He 100% doesn't pace himself well, gasses out, and as a result, definitely gets stomped on. And then he goes on a string of first-round finishes, so it's hard to gauge how good his cardio really is. But yeah, when you look at the fight with Volkan Oezdemir, which there's an argument he lost, and there's a fight with Jan Blachowicz where there's an argument he lost. They're very close competitive fights, but it feels like he's figured out how to navigate that. Not everything is going to be a first-round finish. Sometimes you got to settle into more of a rhythm. So he's an inch taller than Prochazka, but Prochazka's actually got the 3-inch reach advantage. The thing is that Jiri doesn't use the reach advantage. He constantly crashes into the pocket himself, and I just feel like Carlos Ulberg maybe intercepts him or within the first 3 rounds and puts him away. If he does not, yeah, then I think Yuri's live for round 4 and 5, and to even get a stoppage of his own, like you said, fight doesn't go the distance, kind of makes sense either way. Either Ulberg's able to finish him early, or your Prochazka survives that early onslaught and then just dishes it back out in those later rounds. So I like your side of it, but I would just be way more tempted to take Ulberg pre-fight flop, let him try to win the first fight in the first 2 rounds. And if he doesn't, then you would probably pull the shoot in that live bet on Prochazka because you get a really good plus money number on him. And again, that's kind of where he comes alive. Again, you watch back his recent tape, he drops rounds in these fights. It's that the totality of it, the totality of the damage that he's dishing out eventually just causes guys to succumb to it. Just feels like to me like Carlos Ulberg's got a way more tight technical style, got a good jab, good with his range. This is a big cage. They're fighting in Miami, Florida. Prochazka's got cardio, but Ulberg's not one like he's ever really gassed out hard outside of that debut, and that taught him. Again, you got a guy that's very funky and leaves a lot of openings versus a guy that's classically trained, tight, technical. I just feel like he's going to be able to find something and exploit it on him. Similar to Alex Pereira is a good kickboxer, a high-level kickboxer. Eventually, you make one mistake, he's going to capitalize. When Jiri fights him both times, he leaves that opening. Pereira takes advantage. That's not something Khalil Roundtree could do or Alexander Rakic could do, but I feel like Ulberg's maybe of an ilk above those guys. So, yeah, I'll take Carlos Ulberg, but it very much is an even money fight. Could go either way. And it's not something I want to be too heavily invested in because it's just straight violence one way or another. So it's hard to say anything's a lock of any sorts.
I mean, yeah, for me, it's what I've been doing, what I've started doing this week and hoping that the number kind of sticks around. But, maybe the show will move the number. But I've been trying to take that fight doesn't go to decision prop. I've been adding it to whatever other plays I do make. And then on fight night, I have 2 options. You can either full out hedge, right, and take fight does go to decision, which has been tied to all of the others, like whatever other stuff. You can kind of figure out where you're at. Or if you're feeling a little bit dangerous, then you could try to middle it, where you take the over 2.5 and then try to hit all of them. But like,
yeah, we've all been there too.
It's definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty at minus 325. I mean, it's never happened to Jiri. He almost went to the decision against Glover Teixeira. Don't get me wrong, but they got the
even then he couldn't do it.
They got the submission with 28 seconds left. So it was close. It was close that one time. But yeah, my strategy for that fight, honestly, is I'm not really getting invested in the winner pre-flop. I understand betting Ulberg pre-flop because if he knocks out Jiri on the first exchange, I'm not going to be surprised. Yeah. But yeah, what I'm doing is the inside the distance. The fight ends inside the distance, and then it'll be a decision and what I should do from there on Saturday night. And that's as long as I win some other bets on this card, which is not so easy. Not so easy. Azamat Murzakanov takes on Paulo Costa at 205 pounds. Murzakanov minus 200 favorite to come back on Costa plus 170. Interesting because, Costa's moving up to 205 pounds. He's fought at 205 pounds before. That Vittori fight ended up being 205 pounds because, Paulo basically outsmarted Marv and was just like, we don't cut weight. We don't do any of this. It's saved his purse and so on and so forth. He's been up at 205, I believe, a few other times. The thing about it, though, is that, Murzakanov is really small for 205 pounds. So, in terms of a size advantage or anything like that, you won't really see it because this will actually be, one of Murzakanov's opponents that are kind of the same size as him. Paulo, on the other hand, the only concern I would have with Paulo is that, one, he pulled out of a fight a month ago that was supposed to take place at middleweight, and then he's fighting here. So that leads me to believe that it's he hasn't been putting on more muscle. He's just basically just not cutting weight for this fight. Murzakanov 16-0. Knocking out everyone that you put in front of him. He's had bad tape. He has some, volume issues, everything like that. But I feel like Paulo Costa is kind of one of those guys with 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the door. He's making money from, different things, whether it be gambling streams or just social media, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if he's entirely committed to the game, and I don't know much about Murzakanov in his personal life, but I feel like this guy's only sole purpose in life is knocking dudes out. So Murzakanov, is he gonna get the knockout? I mean, Izzy did it to Costa, but typically a pretty good durability for Paulo Costa. Murzakanov's the side for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Paulo Costa. But again, he's moving up to 205 pounds, and I think that's a big worry that he'll come in every bit at 205 and he'll still look good on the scale. It's how serious is he taking it? I mean, he's, at his best, he's a potential top 5 guy in the world at 185, but at 205 pounds, he's going to be a little bit undersized. And if he is 1 foot in, 1 foot out, then, you don't really want to be betting this guy. But I kind of felt like he was 1 foot in, 1 foot out before his last fight against Roman Kopylov. And then he turned back the pages. He looked like that was a pretty vintage performance. Nasty kicks to the body, good punches to the body as well. Right hand was on target all night, kept his volume up. And Kopylov's a decent enough at-range kickboxer, and Paulo Costa really beat him up right there. This fight, to me, comes down to Murzakanov, and you mentioned this yourself. He's got low volume issues, but he gets away with just having absolute treacherous power where he knocks guys out. Outside of that, he's primed to getting outworked. People might remember the fight with Tufan Njoku, where he's down the first 2 rounds before getting a 3rd round, flying knee knockout. But you can see in that fight, it's he got a classic Sambo, old school style. Bouncing on his feet, overhand right, boom. Low volume, low volume, low volume, overhand right. As such, he averages, similar to last week with Azamat Bakoev, when he wins in the first round, he lands a bunch of strikes. He's got you hurt. He smells blood in the water. He swarms. He racks it up. It's the fights that get prolonged, that aren't quick first round finishes, where you start to see the guy's just not throwing enough. And in his last fight against Alexander Rakic, again, we mentioned already, Rakic hasn't won a fight in 5 years. Rakic is on a 4-fight losing streak. In that fight, he knocks him out 3 minutes and 11 seconds into the first round. He had landed 3 significant strikes, the 3rd one being the one that knocked him out. And you're landing a significant strike per minute at that rate. And same thing with this fight with, say, Dustin Jacoby, right? He goes the 3 rounds. That's a full 3-round fight. He lands 67 significant strikes. It's just not enough to me. Now, I know Paulo Costa, his best performances where he's landing really high volume are 5-rounders. Him and Sean Strickland, he's landing, upwards of 150 significant strikes. But even in some of his 3-round fights, like when he fought Yoel Romero back in the day, right? He's capable of keeping high work rate, and he's very, very durable. Izzy knocked him out. Sure, it's a weird performance, and Israel Adesanya is very clean and precise. Outside of that, he's been in the ring with a lot of heavy power punchers, and his chin's the one thing that kind of has held up. So I think this fight with Murzakanov, what's his path to victory? Well, look at the guy's win condition. He's basically won by knockout in virtually all of his fights outside of the Dustin Jacoby fight. If he does not knock out Paulo Costa, and this is why I referenced Bakoev last week, it's just going to be a 50-50 fight where he's landing at a low clip and his opponent, Tresean Gore, might not be that good, but he's landing at pretty well the same clip and just has enough firepower to maybe hurt you, tire you out, take advantage. That's Costa. Again, when you watch him fight world-class guys like a Sean Strickland, it's like, oh, he's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Robert Whittaker, oh, he's got 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Those guys are world-class guys. They're former world champions. And he still holds his own with them. He just doesn't have enough, in the gas tank to really push the pace and then win the fight. And this is a 205 pounds. He's going to be big. He doesn't have to cut that extra 20, 30 pounds. He's going to be a lot more comfortable here. If he just throws a little bit more, he's already faster than Murzakanov. It just, to me, it plays out way closer to a 50-50 fight. Not saying Murzakanov can't win. Just saying if I was going to line him, I'd line him at like minus 130. So the fact that he's minus 190, he's nearly a 2-1 favorite. To me, the line's just off. And by default, I am actually going to take Paulo Costa. Very small stakes. But I feel like he weathers the early storm and just outworks him down in rounds 2 and 3. Outlasts him down the stretch and picks up a decision victory of sorts. So I know it's not pretty, but I feel like that's what's going to come in more often than not. So Costa by decision for me.
Moving on down, we've got Curtis Razor Blaydes taking on Josh Hokit. Blaydes, a minus 135 favorite to come back on Hokit, plus 115. Who you got here?
Yeah, I got Josh Hokit. It's not like, the antics and he talks great game on the microphone afterwards. It's just the torch is being passed, right? Curtis Blaydes is not a good fighter. In fact, he's not really much of a fighter at all. He's a wrestler. And why he's been effective is at heavyweight's the one weight class where there's virtually no wrestlers. If you look at the top of it, Tom Aspinall's a grappler with some striking. Alexander Volkov, straight striker. Sergey Pavlovich, power puncher. Cyril Gane, straight Muay Thai guy. Waldo Cortez Acosta, former pro boxer, straight up striker. Sergey Spivak, the list goes on and on, where a lot of good strikers have been at heavyweight. There's not that one guy where you're like, oh yeah, he goes and completes 5, 6, 7, 8 takedowns every fight. Gelton Almeida was supposed to be a takedown threat. He just was very bad. Anyways, Curtis Blaydes has been that guy. He's won these fights because he's got deep cardio, trains at altitude. For a big guy, he can definitely push the pace. He's a former Illinois State champion wrestler in high school, went like 42-0 his senior season, was a former junior college national champion, and he's an athletic big man. But he does not have the durability. I think all 5 of his losses are by knockout. One of them is eye swollen, the first Francis fight. They just call it off between rounds. It's not like he got knocked out, but certainly in the second Francis fight and the Derek Lewis fight, and the list goes on and on.
Official losses, because he lost that one against Kuniev. I don't care what you say.
I thought he won the one about Kuniev, but that one to me was a giant red flag in that he blows his knee out in the second round. So now he wins the first.
It's pretty clear.
Nah, you know what? You got the numbers in front of you, and I know this is such a greasy way.
Stats lie.
Stats do lie. Just keep in mind, he wins the first round.
I guess
he loses the second round. Yeah, well, it's 1-1 going into the third round, and if you look at the total strikes, it's 61-19. So you mean to tell me he got 2 minutes of control time? He tripled him up in the total strikes. He doubled him up in the significant strikes. And you mean to tell me he lost the round because people were booing because he's holding him up against the cage?
Those round 3 stats seem very inflated. Maybe I have to watch the round 3 again.
Bro, watch it again.
That's not the fight that I was
It's all short knees and elbows in the clinch because he knows he can't move at distance because his knee is blown out.
It was not a great look, regardless.
It wasn't a good look, and then also, to me, it's the injury. And Blaydes has had a few injuries. He is a big man. He's starting to get a little bit older. He's tenured with the UFC. He's had a lot of fights. And when you're a wrestler, and a lot of these guys will have knee issues at some point, it's like that's his whole game. Because striking, he's a little bit stiff and rigid. He's got a nice, big, long jab, but he just doesn't retract it fast enough. So he's open to getting countered. Again, he's got proven durability issues, not in the sense of he's going to gas out. His cardio is rock solid. It's the durability in that, the Derek Lewis fight's a good example. He wins the first round, no problem. Easy takedowns. The second round, Lewis just finds that opportunity to swing on him, and that oftentimes is enough to get him out of there. Tom Aspinall knocks him out, but it's 1 minute into the round. Sergey Pavlovich knocks him out. It's 3 minutes into the round. It's not like you have to beat this guy up for 2-3 rounds. Is that you can just land that one shot and he tends to crumple over. So you got a guy that's got a history of knockout losses. He's blew out his knee in his last fight. His entire game is to wrestle And now you're giving him Josh Hokit. And well, the thing is that Josh Hokit's not a junior college national champion, but he's a 2-time D1 All-American. So in fact, his wrestling, at least on paper, and I get it, he wrestled at like 197. He wasn't a heavyweight, but his wrestling on paper is in fact better than Curtis Blaydes. In terms of heavyweight fighting, it's like Blaydes has got some speed, but Hokit's got some quickness of his own. I would say Blaydes has got better cardio only because it's proven. You've seen Blaydes fight 25 minutes against guys like Alexander Volkov back in the day. You've seen him fight guys that it's like he's able to go there and push a pace for 25 minutes. But this is a 15-minute fight. So is he going to push enough of a pace to tire Hokit out? Maybe. But Hokit seems like he's just one of these good athletic guys. He's not cutting a ton of weight. He, again, wrestled in college. He also played as a walk-on for the San Francisco 49ers. He's a natural athlete. And if his cardio ends up being world-class too, you're going to have some problems on your hand. I understand it's more of a gimmick and he shoots some sloppy takedowns here and there, but like he pushes a pace that eventually breaks your will. So what you have here is you got a guy in Curtis Blaydes that's known for his wrestling and his cardio with durability issues. Taking a guy in Hokit who's known for his wrestling and potentially his cardio and his pace is what I'm saying there. Doesn't have those durability issues. In fact, he's just swinging on dudes lately. Against Guillermo Uriel in the Contender Series, first round, he shoots like 5-6 takedowns, and they're sloppy, and Uriel's getting back up, but it just breaks him, breaks his cardio, breaks his desire, breaks his will. Hokit breaks the man, takes over and TKOs him. The Max Jimenez fight just swarms him right off the bat, but it's a Denzel Freeman fight. Once he gets rolling with his ground and pound, he's relentless. Inside the clinch standing, he's in with those short little shots, and to me, it just feels like he's going to catch Blaydes off guard. Blaydes has got this knee injury he's coming back from. He's been away for a year. It's going to take him around. It's going to take him at least 2-3 minutes to find his groove and really get back into it. I just don't think Hokit's going to give him a chance to find that comfort zone. He's just going to swarm him right off the hop. Something's going to come through. Something's going to connect. He's going to topple him over. So I'd say they're middling heavyweights, but I like Hokit. And Curtis Blaydes is tenured. He's a veteran, and he's been a top 5 guy at points in his career. So they're not middling. But it's 2 heavyweights that are throwing down, and each guy's going to have a chance. You can get slight plus money here on Hokit. I'm taking a press at it.
I think Hokit's going to kill him. Like, I'm actually quite confident in it. And like, I know people are going to be like, look at who they fought. And I get it. Well, you can't fight the best guys unless you start fighting them, right? Like, Hokit just hasn't had the opportunity to fight these guys. But like, Denzel Freeman was an LFA champion.
He wrestled too.
Not a great, like, and he was a Greco-Roman
national team member.
Yeah. One instance in that fight is when Denzel Freeman actually goes for a takedown. Just the speed and ability to like scramble that I like. It's just like that you saw from Hokit. You're like, okay, this is an NFL level athlete. This is a different level of athleticism. He's given up a lot of size at heavyweight, but like, and I'm not saying that Hokit's going to be champion. And like, I don't really even care for like his antics and all the other stuff that he does. Like, has nothing to do with that. It has to do everything with the fact that like, I think he's a problem, man. Cause like 37 significant strikes on Denzel Freeman basically it was a no mas situation.
Oh yeah.
Freeman falls in the corner, 1 second left in the round. And it's just like the ref steps in and Freeman's just like, and the commentary is kind of like, oh, well, we should probably, like, oh, that's a bit weird. Like, he went back to his corner. It's just like Freeman did not want any more at that point. And Hokit looked like he was just going back to his corner. Just like, I'm going to do that again. That level of pace in round 1 at heavyweight is kind of unmatched. It's like, if you go back over the history of time, I mean, Stipe basically was just like a smaller, lighter heavyweight, had some wrestling. I think Hokit's striking has a long ways to go. Don't get me wrong. But smaller, mobility. If he can take a punch and that striking can come along. I don't think his wrestling is going to be very effective in this fight. It'll be effective in keeping the fight upright, keeping out at range.
Jonathan Almeida got 9 takedowns, right? So you don't think Hokit could get a few? Could be
I think he could get a few. I just don't know if he necessarily. I think he may just hang out at range and stay like just be so. He's so much faster, man. Like I was not a Hokit believer until that Denzel Freeman fight. And when I watched it, I was like, okay, this guy's
good.
This guy's actually a problem because like we had been like following him along from like his regional scene, everything like that. Rewatching that Denzel Freeman fight, I'm like, okay, like he's only 236 pounds. that's going to be a problem in terms of like holding down, controlling maybe the biggest heavyweights for prolonged periods of time. I think he more than makes up for it in speed. Plus Blaydes, the chin, the durability. I don't think he can keep this type of pace that Hokit's going to put on him. Plus money, I love Josh Hokit this week. And I honestly, when I first looked at the matchup and before I started doing tape and watching their most recent fights, I was just like, Blaydes is like so easy. This seems like he's fought everybody. And Hokit's, and it's like, no. I really came away from it being like, okay, Hokit's going to absolutely kill him, to be perfectly honest. Maybe I'm like way too confident on this.
No, I like it. I see what you're saying.
Do your own research, but honestly, Hokit's my favorite play on the card. And so, we've hit our peak. Now we go through a bunch of other things that have, next to no.
We just talked about a guy going into his peak. Now let's talk about some valleys.
Yeah, we're into the valleys. Nice transition there, Coach. We got Dominick Reyes taking on Johnny Walker. Dom Reyes minus 140 favorite comeback on Walker plus 120. Honestly, I could see this going in any which way direction possible. Both these guys' durability shot. Both of these guys' strategies sometimes can be a little bit crazy too. Like Johnny Walker can go right into a firefight and sometimes die or win said firefight. But there's been plenty of times before over the course of his career where it's just like he just hangs out at range, uses that length, doesn't really trust his chin. So it's like that Anthony Smith fight, I think, is what I'm thinking of, like going to decision.
SPG ruined him for a bit there.
What's that?
SPG ruined him for a bit there.
So, I mean, what, you think he comes back and he's aggressive, everything like that? Like,
well,
this is
he's
an incredibly
Vegas
volatile
now.
fight.
Yeah.
I was on board with the Dom Reyes comeback, and like frankly, getting knocked out by Reyes' comeback, getting knocked out by Ulberg. I mean, the guy's fighting for the title right now. It's not the end of the world. I do believe that Reyes came back from, a bad period in his career with the Blachowicz, Jiri, and then Span. Woof, what a bad loss that was.
Yeah.
But he came back after that. I'm gonna side with Dom Reyes just because I prefer his striking technique, his style. This is a highly volatile fight, though. And it's not necessarily, that doesn't always mean like it's going to be finished. It's going to be finished early. It's just like there's a real possibility both of these guys kind of come in, play patty cake because they're kind of scared of their own weaknesses and durability. But I think Reyes is the cleaner striker. I've always liked the guy, wanted to root for him and his comeback from the low point in his career. I think he wins on Saturday. Am I really confident? No, not really. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you got to feel for Dominick Reyes. It's like you beat a generational talent in John Jones, and the judges just didn't agree. And then the rest of your career has never even come close to attaining back to those heights. In many ways, it mirrors like Johnny Hendricks. I don't think he beat George. I know people are going to give me heat for that. I thought if you're looking at it as a 10-point must system, George won 3 of the 5 rounds. The rounds that Johnny won, he absolutely smoked it. The point being, the general public believe Johnny Hendricks won against a generational talent in George St. Pierre, and then his career never remained at those heights. It was all downhill afterwards. So when you say you want to root for Dominick Reyes, I completely agree with that. It's like this guy should have been the man. This guy should have had a belt. And now, you're fighting middle of the road guys and you're losing to guys like Ryan Spann by knockout. And this comeback looks promising. And maybe he's going to get back into contention. And how great of a story would this be? This dude was right there, lost it all, 3-fight losing streak, down in the dumps to resurrect himself and get back to that level. It'd be huge. But unfortunately, Ulberg put a stop to it. This fight comes down to who's going to land first. And so I understand that a very much high volatility fight where the win condition for Reyes is probably knock out Johnny Walker in the first round and a half. Walker's win condition is the same thing. Knock out Dominick Reyes in the first round and a half. because you're getting slight plus money on Johnny Walker, maybe, gun to my head, I would just say dog or pass. But I am going to actually go with Dominick Reyes as well. Couple reasons. One, when you watch Walker, he's very open to getting hit. His hands are low. He's bouncing in and out of the pocket. He comes at you 100. His defense is not that good. And when you watch sparring footage on him, I watched this like 18-year-old boxer knock him out like 2 months ago. Same thing. It's like he just dives in, darts in with these big, long shots. And these guys just stay tight and technical. They counter him and put him down. This fight in particular, he mentioned that he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And he doesn't say flat out, Francis knocked me out. What he says is, Francis hit me with a very powerful uppercut. And now I got to really watch out managing this last week or two leading up to the fight because of this very powerful uppercut. Well, I've seen the guy spar. He spars 100. And he probably pissed off Francis Ngannou, who landed a big old crushing uppercut on him. And it hasn't worked out for many guys. He needs the money, not because he's broke, but just because he's a prize fighter in a big spot on a UFC pay-per-view. It's a numbered event. And he's getting paid a good amount for this. This is what he does. The clock's ticking. You got to take those money fights while you can. And this is a great spot for him. So, of course, he didn't pull out. But I just don't think he's got durability. I think he's always struggled with his punch resistance. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I've seen him get knocked out by this boxing kid like 2 months ago. And now he potentially just got knocked out by Francis Ngannou in the gym 2 weeks ago. And now he's fighting Dominick Reyes, who, again, can absolutely crack. When we were kind of starting to believe that Dominick Reyes was on this comeback trail, he beats Nikita Krylov. That's not impressive. Beats Anthony Smith. That's not impressive. Dog, he knocked out Dustin Jacoby in 2 minutes. That's actually very impressive. Yeah. He can crack. If he lands on Johnny Walker's flopping over. He's going down. I just feel like he's too damaged goods. And my little joke on this one is Magomed Ankalaev knocked out Johnny Walker. His punch resistance is not good. Mild punchers can get to him. Now, I understand last time we all want to believe that Ming Yang Zhang just had a little too much. But
had crazy power.
He has crazy power. He's so unbelievably basic. And Walker actually does have a pretty decent ground game. He will threaten with the grappling. He'll threaten with the takedown. It gives you something to think about. Of course, his brother, who I don't think they get along very well, but Walter, excellent grappling his own right. So, like, Johnny Walker's not just he needs to land some crazy spinning back fist or some crazy Superman punch and do the worm afterwards. Like, yes, he is chaotic, but he's got a nasty submission game. Thing is that Dominick Reyes' counter wrestling is pretty good. His takedown defense is solid. So if Walker can't take him down, you got two gunslingers that are going to be standing not in the pocket, but they're both rangy. They're both big guys. If they're at range or in the pocket, they're going to be cracking. And you can't trust either of their chins to really take the damage. Just feel like the guy that's going to punch, like what is going to take the quickest trajectory to its target? Something that's going straight, something that's coming wide. Straight, of course. Well, Reyes knows how to throw that 1-2 down the pipe. No doubt about it, Walker is long, but he's a little open. He's a little loopy. And I got to just tell myself that Reyes is going to be able to snipe him, hit him with something before the damage comes the other way, because it ain't going to be good. If you don't get him out of there early, you're going to absorb some shots, and I just don't have the confidence that he can do that. But yeah, give me a Reyes just to be a little more polished, a little more refined, hit the target first, topple this guy over, and end this thing before it really gets greasy.
All right, next up, we got Cub Swanson taking on Nate the Train Landwehr, your boy. Your boy. Your historical boy. I don't know if it's always been good from a betting perspective with Nate the Train, but
sometimes been good. It's oftentimes not been good, Paul. Not been good.
He's always been your boy.
Yeah.
Cub Swanson's 42 and a half now. Yikes. Still having some pretty good performances over the course of his career. Nate's coming off of getting knocked out by Morgan Charrier in the third round. This fight's kind of volatility personified. It's a fight that I don't have a great read on whatsoever. I don't feel great about it. I know Cub's been putting a lot of time into like rebuilding a new gym, but I think he's been like running that gym for a while. But I know that they just like reopened. They did a whole bunch of construction and everything like that. I saw it on the most recent episode of Embedded, or episode 1 of Embedded. It kind of was like him showing off, this little fight pit. They turned like a swimming pool into like, instead of like filling in the swimming pool of like this place that like he had taken over, he just like put mats up on the wall. So it's like a fight pit. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool.
Yeah, and Danny Silva, who fights out of Bloodline, absolutely crushes Curtis Campbell with a spectacular knockout win. And then Larian Douglas,
Yeah, they're on fire right now.
Bro, they are on fire right now. This little pit thing's really working out for
Now,
them.
is that going to transfer over to Coach Swanson?
Old man Cub.
I mean, he's had some pretty good performances. So it's like the fact that he's like 42 and a half, it's just like, he can win this fight. Am I going to bet him, though? Where are you at with this one? Because I don't have too much confidence on either side. I need to be sold.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Honestly, I am going with Cub Swanson, and I just feel like Cub, which means young, he's not a little cub anymore. He's Papa Bear Swanson now, and he's got this team of young, hungry killers, and he's showing them the way. The thing with Cub Swanson is he's not going to fight twice a year. He's not going to fight 3 times a year. He is going to perform once a year at absolute best. And when he does fight, he still hangs it on the line. The guy's been in multiple wars. He's won plenty of fight of the nights. He's won a fight of the year against Doo Ho Choi that actually got put in the Hall of Fame because of how good of a fight it was. You know, Nate Landwehr, as much as I like him, he's never really been to that level. You know, he's also fought Doo Ho Choi and got taken down 4 times and easily out-grappled. He fought Dan Ige. Dan Ige was twice as fast, man. Like, Nate Landwehr could not get to the target. And, of course, when you talk about disappointments, he's largely been a disappointment for me. I mean, you look at his Herbert Burns fight where he's walking right through him and then walks into a knee right up the middle. His Julian Erosa fight. Well, surely he's going to dog Julian Erosa. No, Julian Erosa just walks him onto a shot up the middle. And his last fight against Morgan Sherrier loses the first round, but competitive.
But he has good moments like Ludovic Klein, David Onama. Those are good wins.
They're good wins, but Nate Landwehr at one time was explosive. This guy ran track and field, could have been a college D1 track and field star, and all of a sudden he's fighting. He goes 0 to 100 fast. He left his best fights in the ring in Russia. And when he was in Russia, he fought 13-2 Mikhail Korobov, knocked him out. Then he fought a 13-1 Viktor Kolesnik, won. Then he beat a 10-1 Kazmat Dalgiev. Then he knocked out a 21-8 Andrei Lesniev. Then he rematched Viktor Kolesnik and beat him in a 5-rounder who was 15-2 at the time. Then he debuted in the UFC. And really what I'm seeing is this guy used to be fast twitch, very explosive, hot off the jump. He's slow now, man. The guy just telegraphs everything, punches from a mile out. He's still got that dog in him. He's still got that grit in him. But the durability is not matching. You get knocked out by Herbert Burns, and everybody's going to be key. Knocked him out standing. Well, everyone's going to be able to get one in. You leave too many openings, but you're not fast enough to defensively really protect yourself. Sherrier did really nothing much. He won the first, lost the second. Now it's a gut check round 3. And now Nate's firing up the crowd. And they're in Nashville, Tennessee. He's from Clarksville, Tennessee. It's an hour away. This is his spot. 1-1 in the 3rd round. You're juiced up. The crowd's juiced up. Sherrier, who's not really known for his punching power, unless he's taking out Manolo Zucchini with a body kick, I guess. But no, just a crisp 1-2 right across the chin knocks out Nate Landwehr. And so because he's reckless and makes a lot of mistakes, you have to have the durability to back that up. And I just don't really think he's got the durability anymore. More so, it's just, him versus Sherrier, he looks slow. Him versus Doo Ho Choi looks very slow. Him versus Ige, extremely slow. Him versus Austin Lingo, he arguably loses the first round to Austin Lingo on the basis of Lingo's just jabbing him. And Nate fights with his hands down his hip, and he tries to wade forward, but there's not enough head movement. There's not enough speed. I love the guy. The guy is always going to deliver you a fight. This has got fight of the night written all over it. This has got dogfight written all over it. But it ain't 2 guys in their prime. It's a 42-year-old Cub Swanson versus a version of Nate Landwehr that's, still 5 years younger. He's 37, but it's 42
in fight years.
Bro, sure. He's 52 in fight years. He's just so many miles to him. So, again, when you look at Cub Swanson, we have to rewind it back to almost 2 years, a year and a half, to the fight with Billy Q. The first round's competitive. The second round is competitive. It's definitely either 1-1 or there's an argument maybe Cubs down 2-0. But in the 3rd round, it's like, bro, he's very fast with his punches. I understand he also fights with his hands low, but he's got reaction time. So he fights with his hands low, he baits you into throwing, and then he looks to counter. Feels like a guy that's now coaching that next generation who are winning at the UFC level and winning performance bonuses at the UFC level. He's been in there with just all the best guys in the world. Is it possible that you catch him and knock him out quick? Maybe. But if you want to have a dogfight with him, this is what he's made his career off of. And Nate, who is that type of fighter as well, but just doesn't have the durability anymore. So to me, Swanson's it's weird to say he's fresher. He's not fresher. He's just got a little more left in the tank. He's a little crisper, and he's got the speed advantage. And so in a fight where both guys are capable of knocking out the other guy, it's who's going to be landing first and who's going to be landing more often. It looks like volume, speed are in Cub Swanson's favor. Training with a good gym of good guys that are obviously pushing him. And if you can survive sparring with Loran Douglas, I think you'll be okay with a guy like Nate Landwehr. It's a very good guy to mimic him. So I hate not betting my boy Nate Landwehr. I'm going to try to get on one of those, actually none of my books offer those cool, is it going to be fight of the night props? But this is going to be an absolute thrilling battle one way or another. My heart is going to hurt for Nate Landwehr getting slept, but I'm hoping my bank account will be happy, and that will kind of balance out the sad times and turn them into happy feelings. Unfortunately, I got to go against the grain, go against my boy. And, who doesn't love Cub Swanson? It's not like he's not my boy too. It's just, I got a soft spot for Nate Landwehr. He really is my boy. Just don't think my boy's going to get the job done come Saturday night. So for me, it's going to be a Cub Swanson play.
We have Patricio Freire taking on Aaron Pico. Pico is the biggest favorite on this card, coming off of a first-round knockout loss to Laurent Murphy. Good competition, don't get me wrong, but we've seen Pico's chin cracked so many times over the course of his career. But I hear the kids on the street are calling you the Freire Whisperer. Patricio. He's had 2 fights in the UFC. You've been all over. Like you picked him, and then you picked against him. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. 2-0 on Patricio bet. So I know
it all. You faded him against Rodriguez, and I mean that fight wasn't even all that competitive at all. And then against Ige, you're like, he's just gonna like wrestle, control, and dominated there too. So you're 2-0 on Freire, moving over to the UFC. Who you got here? What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, well, again, this comes down to one of those, and I know people are maybe going to hate on me for a bit, but I'm taking Pico. I got Pico. It's the minus 300, Paul. It's like, how much faith do you have in a guy that's constantly been a letdown time after time after time? His pro debut, I get it, he fought a 10-fight vet, but his pro debut, he was like a minus 900 favorite, and he lost. When he lost to Henry Corrales, he was a minus 585 favorite. When he lost to Adam Borix, he was the favorite. When he lost to Jeremy Kennedy, he was a minus 700 favorite.
People were saying he was going to be like the best fighter of all time.
To be honest with you, he never wrestled in college because he was recruited straight out of high school to compete on like the world team. He had sponsors. He had his own shoe, the Aaron Pico shoe, for wrestling. This guy was going to be the future of USA wrestling. And he almost was. He got into a wrestle-off for the last spot on the Olympic team, like to represent Team USA at the Olympics. It's a wrestle-off, and it was a tie. So it went to a judge's decision. I watched it, man. I watched the trials that year, and I thought he won, but the opponent was a little bit older and a little more mature, so they just decided, let's send the guy that's a little more proven, and Pico sat on the sideline. He didn't decide, I'm going to wait 4 years and try for the next Olympics. He jumped right into MMA. Then he gets with Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn, which I don't care for the gym, but on the purposes of that Josh Hokit's there, they're back, baby. I'm back on Team Jackson Wink. And yeah, no, Aaron Pico's getting some quality work there. The guy can box. He has a bit of an amateur background as well. Got good hands, hits like an absolute freight train, freak athlete, unbelievable shape, takes every aspect of his game extremely serious. He is the complete package, other than he can't take a punch. It's like, it's a very sad thing to see. It's sad to see a guy work that hard and have that much invested in the game and do everything right and have, honestly, one of the most well-rounded skill sets you will ever see. He's no good still because he can't take a punch. It's just one of those things you can't train. And I do feel for Pico. In this matchup with Patricio, it's that Patricio's a bit of an older guy, right? He's 38 years old. And so he's always been smaller, 5'6", 67-inch reach. Mm-hmm. And he was been a big power puncher. Guy's got to win at 155 pounds over Michael Chandler, who he knocked out in the first round. So no doubt about it, like when he's at his best, he can hit. The thing is that he's not really at his best, and he hasn't been for quite some time. Outside of his win over Jeremy Kennedy, which was a third-round stoppage late into the fight, outside of that, he's only knocked. That's the only guy he's knocked out in 5.5 years is Jeremy Kennedy. He's not that big power puncher anymore. That Dan Ige fight, the first 2 rounds, he's just wrestling Dan Ige. And then the third round, he just runs away. He won, and I'm not going to fault him for it. I bet him. I'm happy he did what he did. But he's not looking to engage. The Yair Rodriguez fight, Yair was too long, too fast, too sharp, just stays at bay. This guy doesn't crash the pocket anymore. He doesn't have that, not ability, it's desire. He's got millions of dollars in the bank. He wants to fight big name guys, wants to fight guys that are at that level, wants to get paid, and he's looking to like not protect himself, but you see it in racehorses all the time. It's like this horse is hurt. He's not going to get hurt on the track. He's going to protect himself. He's just going to dog at the last quarter because he knows he's hurt. And it's like this horse is going to, he doesn't give you everything he's got. He realizes he don't got nothing left, and he packs it in as to not hurt himself. That's Patricio, man. He's kind of risk adverse. Don't really see him get right into the fire anymore. But you can watch some of these fights back and you see that because he's a smaller guy, wrestlers do have a good chance of taking him down, securing top position, and just grinding him out. Pico in that last fight with Lerone Murphy, he had 2 really nice takedowns. He gets to the hip almost instantly. Guy, because he's hyper aggressive, he backs you up towards the cage, and then you got nowhere to go. So in this fight against Patricio, I feel like Pico can get his wrestling going, get some takedowns, secure some control time. If you're worried about getting punched in the face and not being able to take a punch, your best bet is to not work on your striking and try to hang it on the feet, is to take this guy down. And being that you are a far better wrestler and a larger man overall, wrestling a boring decision is the way to go, man. You lost your UFC debut, you got KO'd stiff. If you lose this second fight, KO'd stiff, and you're making $200,000 a fight, which Pico is, they're going to cut you. They cut Patchy Mix with an 0-2 run as well. So he's got to do the right thing, and the right thing is wrestling. If he chooses not to wrestle, he's got faster punches than Patricio Freire, and he's not going to knock him out. He's going to just get himself into trouble, but he can land punches and shoot takedowns. That's the bottom line. Back the guy up against the cage, have him fight off his back foot, and then shoot under. Get this guy down. I know it's not in Pico's blood to have a boring fight, but he's got to do what's right for him. And I feel like that's exactly what he's going to do here. Take the path of least resistance, lean on this guy, wear on this guy. In the third round, maybe you take some chances with him. He's 38 years old. Lean on him for 10 minutes and then have a fun fight with him. But every old dog has still got power. Power's the last thing to go. Even though Patricio's short on knockout wins over the last 5 years, you don't want to brawl with him early. Take him down, lean on him, grind on him, zap that gas tank, and then open up the longer the fight goes. So do have Pico, but I will admit, minus 300 is a not good price tag for a guy that's a proven commodity in the losing department, and particularly in the shitting in the apple pie department, where he routinely blows out as a big favorite. He just got deaded by Lerone Murphy, and now you have him as a 3-1 favorite over a guy that won his last fight in the UFC and is a former Bellator champion and is a 3-weight kind of guy. I don't know. He never really fought at 135, but could have fought at 135, but certainly won at 45 and 55. He's dangerous. He's got back class. Pico's got to mind his P's and Q's. It's not a good money line on him. And I do feel like he actually does the right thing here, fights a good game plan, and edges this thing out. So I got Aaron Pico as unsexy as it is.
I don't think I could click it.
I don't fault you.
I don't think I could click it because I would just hate myself too much if he gets stiffed on like an overhand right in round 1. I would just hate myself too much for clicking minus 335 on Aaron Pico. It's just like, the risks that you're getting involved in. All of the things that you said make sense. And like the guy looks the part. Everything that he does looks amazing until he's unconscious.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand why he's the favorite. I just don't think I could click that button. Won't do it. Won't be me. Dog or pass from my perspective. Moving on down, we got Randy Brown taking on Kevin Holland. Randy, Rude Boy Brown, a minus 130 favorite to come back on Holland, plus 110. Here's kind of where I'm at on this one. Holland has fought way too much over the last 5 years. Guy's fighting 5 times a year. That fight against Daniel Rodriguez was like bad look in a lot of ways. Didn't get finished, but got knocked down by Daniel Rodriguez, who won. Not a historical power puncher by any stretch of the imagination. And Holland's best attribute, I think, used to be like his pace and his ability. They got knocked down twice by D-Rod.
Never been knocked down before in his career, and D-Rod put him down twice. You're right.
His ability to take damage was one of the things that worked for him because, like, he's got great reach and great ability in terms of, or God-given gifts, basically, and a willingness to fight between 170 pounds and 185 so that he can stay busy. But yeah, that chin getting knocked down by Daniel Rodriguez is like, I don't know if I can really trust this guy. Now he's taking on like a rare situation where he's actually taking on somebody with like pretty similar, body frame, everything like that. Holland's got a little bit of a reach advantage in terms of the arms, 3 inches per UFC stats. I think leg reach is probably pretty similar between the two of them. They both have submission wins on their record. I'm not entirely sure who would have like a offensive wrestling advantage. They probably just stand and exchange strikes. I think Brown hits with a little bit more pop. And for that reason, that's the side for me. What about you?
I got Brown as well, but I can't say that there's any really good reason behind it. Like, in terms of the style clash, you ever see that meme of Spider-Man and he's pointing at Spider-Man? That's kind of what's going on here. They're both 6'3". Yeah, there's an 81-inch reach for Kevin Holland. He's a long guy, but Randy Brown's the same thing. Proportionally, they like to fight long. They have good jabs on them. They're both very susceptible to leg kicks. Is that Kevin Holland's got historically way better, defense, like in the sense of he's never been knocked out. D-Rod toppled him over twice, but how does that fight end? In the third round, all of a sudden, Kevin Holland lands a knockdown. It runs out of time. He lost the first 2 rounds, but the guy's durability is maybe starting to trend towards getting broken, but as of now, only one guy's ever knocked him down. That was D-Rod, and no one's ever knocked him out. He rebounded with a fight over Mike Malott that he was doing just fine in. A couple of unintentional groin strikes kind of threw his game off, but for the most part, it wasn't like it was a terrible performance. Is that when you watch him, he's one of these, I know you mentioned the term earlier, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Kevin Holland is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He's had 15 UFC fights in the last 3 years. He's fought plenty. He's made a bunch of money. When he fought Chimaev, he negotiated like a $650,000 paycheck to take the fight on 12 hours notice or something. The guy's made money. He's fought Michael Venom Page. He's fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Now he's at a point in his career where he's fighting Daniel Rodriguez and Randy Rude Boy Brown. Like, he's definitely on the back 9 of his career, and I just don't think he overly cares anymore. He likes to fight. Fighters fight. But how much is he improving? How much desire does he have? How much willingness does he have? I don't know. And then to your point, getting dropped twice by Daniel Rodriguez. Like, Daniel Rodriguez was coming off a split decision win over Alex Morono going into this fight. And apparently the word on the street is that he's in a Mexican jail right now. Rodriguez wasn't exactly... What?
Saw something about that, yeah.
I think it's a joke, but he picks up this big win over Kevin Holland, and then just no one's seen him since. Apparently he went backpacking, and he turned off all of his social media and his cell phone, but people that go to Mexican jails often will tell family members they've gone backpacking and have turned their cell phone off for a few months. All jokes aside, I think he's trending towards not really being there anymore. And Randy Brown, meanwhile, is that when you're talking about Kevin Holland's been knocked down by one guy, Randy Brown's been knocked down a pile of times. Of course, in his last fight with Bonfim, he got knocked out, but prior to that, Nicholas Dalby dropped him in the first round of their encounter. He got knocked down by Jack Maddalena before getting rear naked choked. He got knocked down by Chaos Williams before settling for a split decision win. He got knocked down twice against Vicente Luque, eventually got knocked out. I would think that Holland's a little more durable. So if it's mostly going to be striker versus striker, Brown's got a good ground game, but Holland's a black belt. Holland's got defensive wrestling issues, but Randy Brown's really not an offensive wrestler. Randy Brown doesn't deal well against leg kicks. Kevin Holland doesn't throw leg kicks. So I think it's pretty well one of these tit for tat, more of a sparring session. Both guys land shots. Just from what I can see is that Randy Brown has a speed advantage, and Randy Brown still wants to win. Randy Brown's still going for it. Randy Brown's still willing to engage hard if need be, and maybe just fights with a little bit more of a game plan. So this thing could go sideways, probably will go sideways, and it'll happen pretty quickly. But I feel like Randy Brown's just got a little more desire, a little more left in the tank, and has a slight speed advantage, a little bit crisper with his jab, a little bit crisper with the right hand. His natural advantage is taken away because Holland has the same thing, but it's roles reversed as well. Kevin Holland, what makes him effective is he's got these long frame that opponents have trouble dealing with, which is something that Randy Brown really doesn't have trouble dealing with. So he's got the same frame himself. He's good at distance management. And again, man, they kind of mirror image each other, but I just feel like Randy Brown probably gets it done in a very close competitive fight, little more often than not. So it's going to be Rude Boy Randy Brown for myself.
We got Mateusz Gamrot taking on Esteban Ribovics. Gamrot a minus 180. Favorite to come back on Ribovics plus 155. Who you got here?
Well, like purpose of the show, I'll take Ribovics, but Ribovics on a live bet is how you want to go with this thing. He's going to get taken down in the first round. Of course, he's going to get taken down in the first round. Mateusz Gamrot's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fights in the UFC. And you know what all 12 of those guys got in common? They all got taken down by him. He's taking down Charles Oliveira. He's taken down Rafael Dos Anjos, Dan Hooker, Ludovic Klein, Rafael Fiziev, Beneil Dariush. He took down Arman Tsarukyan 6 times. He took down Carlos Diego Freire 4 times. He took down Guram Kutaladze 5 times. Guy's going to get takedowns, no doubt about it. He's got a couple problems, though. One, he's a low-volume guy, no doubt. When he gets takedowns, he doesn't really do much with it. He's not the biggest submission threat in the world, but it's just that there's not a ton of ground and pound. So he's leaving it subjective to the judges that he may land a takedown or two and get 3-4 minutes of control time. But when the fight gets up and his opponents land on him, he's not done enough. It's like 4 minutes of good work. Chain wrestling this guy, getting a couple nice takedowns is all erased from a guy getting back up his feet and then just brawling with you. And so his low volume and really grappling heavy game plan as a favorite, you don't want to get behind him. Second problem is he's similar to Kevin Holland. He's never been knocked out. Well, he'd been stung a few times, but Guram Kutaladze knocked him down and then, lost the decision. Beneil Dariush knocked him down. Arman Tsarukyan knocked him down. Jalen Turner knocked him down. Rafael Dos Anjos knocked him down. Been knocked down in a bunch of fights. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it's a case of he wins 3-4 minutes of the round. His opponent gets up. Dan Hooker fight is a prime example. Dan Hooker gets up, slaps him with a couple good shots. One of them dazes him. He does the chicken dance. There's a knockdown. You lost the round. And so his whole game is wrestling and grappling. And a wild brawler, a guy with good volume, a guy with some decent pop in his punches is going to be a problem. He's getting older. These weight cuts absolutely take a lot out of him. And Esteban Ribovics is just one of these guys that he's got he's a younger guy, right? He trains at Killcliff FC. He's getting quality work in. For this entire camp, he's been working with Kamaru Usman, which better guy than a guy that's big, strong, with excellent wrestling who can push a hell of a pace. So he's doing all the right things. To me, it's that even if you beat him, he's going to be landing shots. The guy averages 8 strikes landed per minute. But of course, Elvis Brenner, put up 122 against him. Nasrat Hakparas, 147. Got robbed in that fight. His fight with Daniel Zellhuber, he landed 156. Terrence McKinney, head kicked in 37 seconds. All of these fights, it's like he brings a war to you. Now, who are the guys that were able to take him down? Loic Radzhabedonov. 2 guys. Well, 2 guys that really use it as a game plan. Loic Radzhabedonov got 11 takedowns. Loic Radzhabedonov got 11 takedowns on 21 attempts. He's wrestling the whole fight. When you watch that fight, outside of a hot first minute and a half where he's landing some decent shots, Ribovics takes the punches, returns fire, ends up getting a knockdown of his own. It's a good fight. Kamal Leclerc, yeah, he got 3 takedowns. Not a great look. But of those 3 takedowns, it's 3 takedowns on 14 attempts, and he got 6 minutes of control time. So even though he's getting taken down, he is getting back up to his feet. Nasrat Hakparas took him down once, got 49 seconds of control time off 5 attempts. So guys are able to take him down. Loic's the same thing. He got 11 takedowns. Of those 11 takedowns, he had 7 minutes of control time on 21 attempts. So again, yeah, you can take him down, but if he scrambles and he gets back up to his feet, and while he's back up to his feet, he's outlanding you or knocking you down, all that good work is going to be erased on his favor. Now, that last fight with Elvis Brenner, right? Elvis Brenner went 0 for 8 on takedowns. And so why that's significant to me is that Brenner low-key can absolutely wrestle. The dude's got 2 takedowns on Guram Kutaladze, but he took down Mikolai Orobai 3 times. Like Brenner knows how to get to the hips. Brenner knows how to get you down. Brenner went 0 for 8 on takedowns against Ribovics. So yeah, he's one of these Argentinian brawlers that's high volume, got a good chin on him, and is willing to just chuck from the hip side. But wrestling's his problem. Is that I think that he's been working on his wrestling. I think Killcliff are giving him the tools that are necessary to keep these fights standing or scramble and get back up. And I feel like his power, although you could say in the UFC he's short on knockout wins, he was 11-0 prior to coming to the UFC with like a 100% finish ratio or something like that. Like he cracks sufficiently hard that I think he can knock down Gamrot. I think he could hurt Gamrot. I think if Gamrot doesn't absolutely just stick to his hips all night long, he could be racking up some decent shots and maybe just persuade these judges. It's a close fight. Could be a split. Could be a fight where you're looking at control time versus damage. But I'm going to take the guy that's getting the damage. And you got yourself an Argentinian immigrant living in Florida versus a Polish immigrant living in Florida, fighting in Miami, baby. So there's not going to be any time a hometown decision. There's not going to be anything like that. But there's going to be a live crowd that are looking for damage, looking for violence, looking for who's fighting. Gamrot doesn't have a super entertaining style. That'll backfire on him. Slight better damage from Ribovics leads to a slight decision victory for Ribovics. And yeah, again, when you've been knocked down 6 times but never been knocked out, the writing's on the wall. Ribovics happens to knock out Gamrot, great. Let's get this thing over and done with. But if not, just win 2 of the 3 rounds is all I'm asking.
There's no home cooking in America.
No.
You make some good points there. And actually, I think the one thing I kind of looked over, because like my biggest question about Ribovics is like, how far has that wrestling come across? Because like now he actually is taking on the best wrestler that he has ever faced. Technically, at least. I mean, Gamrot's an absolute stallion. He's very good at getting the guy. He's not great at holding you down. Like that's been a kind of a thing over the course of his career. And I think as he gets older, the cardio is definitely slowing down a little bit. Stopping 9 takedowns against Brenner, who I don't think is some sort of great wrestler, but definitely has some ability. That's a huge step up from where he had been 2-3 years ago. When he was getting taken down by Kirk and Rajabov. I think they did a pretty good job otherwise of keeping him completely clear of wrestlers. I mean, Terrence McKinney can wrestle, but Terrence McKinney is basically just out there trying to kill you.
That was a mean
kill or be killed. That was a great knockout. Just absolutely folds him up against the cage. I'm still going to go with Gamrot, but not very confidently. I think just takedowns, control over the course of 15 minutes, but I wouldn't fault you for taking the shot at plus money on Ribovics. But I feel like I really have to see that takedown defense work at this level and probably miss this opportunity for the underdog shot. Guys don't really necessarily believe that he can stop the wrestling advances of somebody of the tenure of Gamrot at this point. May turn out to be wrong. It's a bit of a coward's way out. I get it. But them's the breaks. We got Tatiana Suarez taking on Godinez. Tatiana, minus 150 favorite. Comeback on Lupi plus 130. Minus 150 plus 130. People are saying that she's toast.
Paul, you are the Tatiana whisperer because you mentioned earlier I brought up Patricio Freire. He's had 2 fights and I got them. You've gotten all 9 of Tatiana's fights, including her only loss. So, buddy, you tell me, is she done Paul Shaughnessy?
I don't think she watches, right? No, I don't know. She follows me on Twitter, but like I highly
you were her number 1 fan, and then you
saw
when the time was to get out of the palm.
I was in on Tatiana Suarez long before anybody else was in on that. Maybe not. I'm sure there's other people that were there ahead of me. I'm not claiming her as like the prospect that I saw.
You were in before Patchy Mix was in. Dog.
I don't think she can win a title anymore. I mean, well, I guess we just saw that. Against Weili Zhang, and then, against Lemos. It was not a very pretty performance. Lupi's a half-decent wrestler. I still think that there's levels to the wrestling, and I'm not entirely sure that, Lupi's a better boxer, definitely throws a hell of a lot more volume. We say it every single time, though. It's just like, Mackenzie Dern's not a good offensive wrestler. She was able to take her down twice. Tatiana Suarez is the best wrestler that Godinez has ever seen. And I don't even think that's probably even remotely close.
Verna's got something about her, dude.
Verna's got it, and she was able to get 2 takedowns and actually control a whole bunch from top. Could be close, could be contentious. Suarez's wrestling maybe ain't what it used to be. She didn't look great by any stretch. She was like minus 400 against Amanda Lemos, and people were kind of freaking out in your Discord and everything like that. But
I mean, I was hurting on that one.
Still pulled it off. Maybe it was a bad night at the office. Maybe we've come to the end of the line. I'm going with Tatiana. I do see, since she came back from injury, frankly, I do see, that she's maybe not, the athlete, the tenacity, the cardio isn't what it used to be. That performance against Carla Esparza when Esparza was one of the best in the world was so that was when you were just like, holy crap, who is this girl? She's gonna. But let's fair is fair. It's 8 years ago. We've had a bunch more injuries, neck stuff that kind of popped back up, long layoffs. The striking never really came around all that much. I think, the Twitter community is pretty hard on her in general. I think it's because everyone had heard that this is going to be the next champion. Yeah. So it's anything less than that is whatever. I think she's the best wrestler that Lupi's ever faced, even Verna aside. Maybe Verna's better at getting you caught in that maze. But Tatiana, she bites down on her mouthpiece, gets the takedown. She's gonna be holding you down for a bit. I'm not in what could be her last fight. I'm not picking against my girl, Tatiana Suarez, for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the other way here. Take Lupi. Well, but again, it's just one of those fights that, of course, is gonna be close and competitive, and likely goes to decision. And that what do you want? Do you want control time and takedowns, or do you want the actual damage and aggression? And I think that's what Lupi will bring to the table. Suarez, because of the wrestling, because of the pedigree, someone that, again, could have been an Olympian but had knee troubles, someone that could have gone to the highest level potentially but just had injuries. Paul's not wrong. This girl looked like she was going to be a champion, absolutely. But she won the Ultimate Fighter. She was on the Ultimate Fighter. Her first fight was January 2016. So she's been in the UFC for 10 years. And she's got 9 fights in 10 years. And that's all just compounded injuries. Keep in mind, when she was 5-0 in the UFC, 5-0, she beat Alexa Grasso, who she choked out in the very first round. Her very next fight, she ground and pounded Carla Esparza. Alexa Grasso ended up winning a world championship. Carla Esparza was a former world champion. She beat 2 world champions with a 5-0 and 6-0 record, respectively. That's in 2018. That's where I feel like she peaked a little bit. She pulled out of a fight with Juliana Lima due to an injury. Then she pulls out of a fight in 2021 versus Roxanne Modafferi because she blew out her knee. Then she pulls out of a fight with Amanda Lemos in 2024 because of a neck injury. Then she pulled out of a fight with Verna Jandiroba in December of 2024 with another injury. It's just been a lot of injuries. And the inconsistencies there as well. She fought Carla Esparza, TKO's her. Took a year off, beat Nina Nunez, right? Took 4 years off, came back and beat Montana De La Rosa. Came back that year, fought in Jessica Andrade, and then took another year and a half off before coming back to fight Zhang Weili for the title. She fought for a world title coming off a damn near 2-year-long layoff. Body's not keeping up. UFC eventually said, listen, we can't just keep waiting for her to get healthy. She says she's good. Give her the title fight right now. Threw her right into there off a giant layoff. And for the record, she wins the first round against Zhang Weili. Took her down, controlled her. The end of the first round, Zhang Weili reverses and gets on top, and you see Suarez just get deflated right then and there. Maybe it's the layoffs. Maybe it's the neck injury. Maybe it's the knee injury. She doesn't transitional wrestle anymore. She mostly tries to get double legs off the cage, which is very difficult to complete in 2026. And her control time's not great. And her striking's not good. So I know I just kind of used a lot of these same points in this last fight that we broke down, but it's that Lupi Godinez doesn't really accept being on her back. You did mention that, say Verna Jandiroba took her down twice. Okay, Verna racks up 10, 12 minutes of control time over everybody. But Verna got 6.5 minutes of control time, 2 for 9 on takedowns. And at one point, Verna's on top. Lupi sweeps and gets on top against Verna. Impressive. She does the exact same thing against Mackenzie Dern. She gave up the 2 takedowns, and you're not wrong at all. Getting taken down by Mackenzie Dern's not a great look. But of the 2 takedowns, she only gave up 2 minutes and 45 seconds of control time and was able to reverse off her back to get on top. If you're able to reverse the highest level BJJ black belt of the division, whether it be Mackenzie Dern, the current champ, if you can believe that, or Verna Jandiroba, they're the highest level. You're not giving up in 1 takedown and you're on your back for 4 minutes. You're scrambling and you're getting back up. You're reversing and you're getting on top. And then when she does stand up, she got way better technical boxing than Suarez. She's got way better output than Suarez. She's got more power than Suarez. Suarez has got a jaw like Drew Dober on her, but it's there to get hit, and I feel like Lupi's going to be landing the shots. Yeah, she's going to get taken down because, again, Suarez has had 9 fights in the UFC, and she's taken down all 9 opponents at least one time. So, yes, Lupi is going to get taken down. Are you going to get taken down and accept 3 minutes of being on your back? Or are you going to get taken down, accept 90 seconds of being on your back, scramble, get back up, get to landing hands? I think she's going to do that. And if she does that, she's going to edge out this decision. So it's a Lupi Godinez by decision. And Tatiana Suarez puts her gloves down in the center of the cage afterwards and calls it a career at 35. Not because she can't do it anymore, because her body will not allow her to compete at this level.
You're out of the family. You're out of the family for that. I mean, I can't really fault you for too many of the things that you said. And if the fight is on the feet, it's just like I really do struggle to see her win a striking match against anybody. It's like all those layoffs and stuff. It's just like the striking just never came along. So then when the dominant wrestling becomes maybe less dominant, you end up in some tough situations. And Godinez has been in there with some of the best. I mean, literally the best in the division. So
Suarez
I can't fault you with it, but I can't click it because that's still my girl.
When Suarez fought Amanda Lemos, she went 3 for 12 on the takedowns, right? That led me to believe that Amanda Lemos could defend takedowns. And so I took a flyer on her versus Jillian Robertson. And in fact, Jillian Robertson took her down at will and was actually able to control her.
Took her down 3 times.
On 7 attempts, not 12, and then had 9 minutes. They both had over 9 minutes of control time. I'll give them both that. But it's like Jillian lands ground and pound. Jillian is trying to fish for submissions if she can. She's trying to improve position. It looks good. Tatiana seems to just be grabbing these takedowns. And I know it sounds crazy, but you'd have to be like really into tape study. But when you watch Verna wrestle, Verna goes to body lock takedowns, and she's just so good when she gets the body lock. Whereas like Suarez, it's all single legs and double legs, and it usually up against the cage. So like that's what's less effective because the cage is keeping you balanced. And also if you get taken down, you're already there to build your base back up and get back up. So you want to take them down in the open field, which is what Verna does better than anybody else. Suarez doesn't really do that. You watch some of her fights, it's like she's getting pieced up in the first round and then her opponent makes a mistake or they start running out of gas or she's able to just be stronger and more athletic, but that's going to start to get diminished. So it's a women's fight, Paul. What do you really expect? But to me, yeah, ever so slight lean for Lupi on a personal level.
Yeah. I mean, and I will say, being unbiased as possible. Even the Montana De La Rosa fights, like
she didn't look good early.
Did not look good, and then she got that guillotine. But
yeah.
Even though she was like, if you look at the stats, they're up on the screen right now. It's like she was winning because there was really not much happening at all. But like she wasn't looking her dominant self even there. That's where she was. It's where I think the injuries really started to come into play. Jessica Andrade. I mean, Andrade always has takedown defense issues, but 2-year layoff. Had a good round against the champ. Showed a hell of a lot of heart to get to the final bell in that fight against Zhang Weili. The stats may kind of lied to you there because like that was more of a beatdown than what it looks like on on UFC stats here. I hope she's got one more in the tank because then I can say that she's by far the best fighter in that household. Moving on down, we got Chris Padilla taking on Marquel Mederos. Padilla minus 180-ish favorite, minus 180 to come back on Mederos plus 155. They're finally starting to give Taco Padilla some respect, Cody. Are you giving him respect this week?
I like Taco Padilla, man. This guy's got it. And, we were talking about earlier about how this fight card's so good, and Kelvin Gastelum, Vicente Luque, second fight. And these guys 2 years ago, low key, Marquel Mederos and Chris Padilla combined for a 7-0 UFC record. Like, Marquel Mederos is 3-0 in the UFC. And Taco Padilla is 4-0 in the UFC. Love to see it, dude. Love to see it. The way I see this one is they're both similar in age, but Padilla is definitely a veteran. He fights like a veteran. He's got a very well-rounded game. His wrestling's not bad. You mostly saw it on display in his fight with James Longtop, where he got 3 takedowns, first-round rear naked choke. But outside of that, it's his transitional grappling is very good. If you want to shoot on him, he's got very good hips, very good scrambles, doesn't accept being taken down for long. When he does get offensive takedowns, he's got a knack for jumping on the back. And as far as his striking goes, it's just very traditional, crisp Muay Thai. High guard. He's got a very, very high guard and uses all 8 limbs to great effect. Loves the calf kicks, loves the low kicks, loves leading in. If you want to engage him in the pocket, he just meets you with those elbows. His fight was with Ru Zong. Oh, my God. Just absolutely carved him with the nastiest elbow up the middle. This guy very much uses all 8 weapons, all 8 limbs of Muay Thai, and it's a very traditional Muay Thai stance. But underneath that, he's athletic. He can scramble, and he can stuff takedowns. So as much as it's like it doesn't seem like it's pretty, it's highly effective, dude. He's an advanced basics guy. He's got high ring IQ. Not only that, is he capable of being dangerous? Yeah. He takes James Longtop down, chokes him out. Easy money. Zong Ru, right? Beautiful elbow up the middle. That fight with Bomb Fiend just, waits it out. It's more so the Jai Herbert fight. People will say low volume, which it was, and split decision, crappy fight, which it was. It was in the UK, and he still got the nod, which deservedly so. He won the fight. It's more so is that he knows how to mix in this standing cage control, whereas that he'll spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes holding you up against the cage, landing knees to the body, knees to the thigh, elbows up the middle. And so in his fight with Jai Herbert, this is a great stat. He shot 6 takedowns. Okay. He got 3 minutes and 41 seconds of control time. Didn't get a single takedown. 341 of control time up against the cage. So his last fight against Ishmael Bombfiend, okay, Taco Padilla shot 0 takedowns. He still had 3 minutes and 21 seconds of control time up against the cage. Bombfiend actually got the fight's only takedown. He went 1 for 3 in takedowns. He had 15 seconds of control time. Padilla's not even really trying to take you down. He shot 0 takedowns. It's pummel, press you up against the cage, wear on you, lean on you. Now all of a sudden this round's only got 2 minutes left in it. Then all of a sudden he separates, he hits you with 1 big elbow, 1 big calf kick. He's won the round. It's advanced basics. Bombfiend's faster than him. Bombfiend lands a beautiful uppercut, right uppercut up the middle, a beautiful right hook, and a flying knee. Padilla eats it all. He just bang, 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 and then gets right back to work. Cardio's there. He does have 1 career loss by knockout, but it's like 10 years ago. He has been submitted, but not in a long time. Of his 5 pro losses, 3 of those guys ended up making the UFC from the California regional scene. He's just a veteran guy who fights like a veteran guy, puts a good game plan together, sticks to it, and figures out a way how to manage it. Again, Bombfiend's faster than him. He's more explosive. He's got a deeper pedigree. He's got more power, and Padilla just goes low calf kick, low calf kick, low calf kick. Eventually, you're hobbling. Then he opens up with the 2-punch combination. Then he opens up with the 3-punch combination. Then he swarms you. Does a lot of low-key, very good things. Marquel Mederos, it seems like he might have the more potential if you were to look at where these guys are going to go 5 years from now. And I only say that because he's a better athlete. He's a little more explosive, but he's green, dude. He's absolutely green. He fights with his hands entirely too low. He's flat-footed on the lead leg and open to the calf kicks. He's open to getting countered. In close quarters, especially when he's disengaging from the clinch, he keeps his hands low, and someone who throws elbows is going to knock his face completely off his body. Like those cartoons where the bomb goes off and all of a sudden the duck's beak is in the back of his head. That's what's going to happen if you try to engage Padilla in that close quarters. So when I look at... I think it's possible because Padilla cracks really, really hard and Mederos is there to get hit. But, to Mederos' credit, he's, shown some okay durability. He's not really been hit all that much, but yeah, honestly, it's... I would say it's there to absolutely happen. It's even there to just bust him open with a cut stoppage when you split this guy's face. But Mederos puts himself in harm's way. You watch his fight with Landon Quinones, he gets hit a bunch of times. He outlines Quinones in the significant strikes, but he got outlanded in the total strikes. Very close fight. Like Quinones gives him everything he can handle, but he ends up winning it. His fight with Austin Hubbard. Hubbard takes him down twice in the second round, takes his back, controls the back position, wins the round. Very close fight. He ends up winning a split decision on the basis of maybe lost the first 2 rounds to Austin Hubbard on one judge's scorecards. That Mark Choinsky fight, Choinsky took the fight on about a week's notice.
Mm-hmm.
Choinsky got 2 takedowns. Both of those takedowns, he got the back off of it. Because Mederos has this problem when he gets taken down, he immediately gives up his back and tries to stand up. It's why Hubbard got it. It's why Choinsky had it twice. But Padilla's got a really good back take. He's opportunistic in his exchanges on the with the grappling. I think he's going to be able to find the back. He can mix in takedowns. He can press you up against the cage. He can land in tight quarters. And at range, he's going to be kicking your calf off. Your athleticism, your speed, that's going to be taken away from you when you can't move that lead wheel no more. And so eventually you find behind the punch clock, you get aggressive, you try to charge forward, you walk into something you don't see coming. I'm glad this fight's early because if I'm going to lose money, I want to get it over with right out the gate. But I honestly think Padilla, the number's starting to move in his case. It was better a few days ago, but Taco Padilla, I think, has got this man's number and is going to hand him a defeat. So, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, they opened it at minus 150. And then it went down to minus 200. It's kind of been finding its level here. I've never really believed. I mean, I faded Marquel Mederos against Hubbard there.
So did I.
And,
It was close, man.
that fight was close, competitive. Lost a tight decision. I believe I did win. Fight ends by split. Yeah,
that's
and
right.
so like people in the Discord were all happy. I'm like, I still lost money. Well, like I lost less money because I bet that prop. But like,
I also had Hubbard
on that fight in general. I still lost money, but I knew it was going to be close. And Hubbard, I mean, come on, doesn't bring a certain physicality to the table that he's going to have to face with Chris Padilla. So I'm with you. It feels weird because Padilla's literally been like an underdog every single fight. But is this a time where now everyone piles onto him and then. Or has he just been criminally underrated? I guess we'll find out on Saturday, but I'm with you. I like Taco Padilla. On a card of things I'm not so certain about in a lot of these fights, he's one of the guys I'm going to have to put some trust into.
Listen, if you just got a Padilla Hokit ticket, I like Padilla, Paul likes Hokit. That's a good ticket this week. But of course, we get into the problem that you want something on every fight and you want to prop on that.
I'm trying to do that less.
But, yeah.
In the last 3 weeks, I have been doing that less. I'm doing a lot more on live betting and stuff, and it's been a good few weeks. So I'm trying to, less is more sometimes in the world of gambling. You always got to adapt. So that's where I'm at right now. But Padilla is one of the guys I'm going to be trusting this week. I think I'm also going to be trusting Kelvin Gastelum against Vicente Luque. And I know Kelvin came in at 191 last time out when it's just like, this guy's got a welterweight frame. He doesn't have a welterweight mentality and can never obviously stick to it. I don't know what the guy's going on or what's going on in the guy's personal life, but he's clearly cheating on, his diet. His dietitian is probably losing hair, and his hair is entirely gray at this point, having to deal with Kelvin, not following orders. Because, and I know it's not easy, losing weight, cutting weight. I mean, it's your entire job as a professional fighter. But Kelvin's frame is supposed to be a 170-pounder. He's just been so naturally talented, so now naturally gifted, that he's made a pretty good career work out of being way undersized at 185 pounds. The question here is with Luque is he's moving up from 170 to 185 here. So this is going to be one of the few fights that Kelvin's not really giving up all that much in terms of size. They'll probably be pretty close to the same size. Luque a little bit taller. Kelvin obviously thicker.
Yeah.
With multiple C's. Very, very thick. But for me, what it really comes down to is I still trust Kelvin Gastelum. It's if they get into a firefight to be able to take that punch. I mean, he's been taking punches against literally the best guys throughout an era. Took some good punches against Joe Pyfer in a fight that he didn't look great in. Sean Brady was able to sub him, don't get me wrong. So it's like, these types of things are still on the table, but it's like Robert Whitaker, Jared Cannonier, Israel Adesanya. It's like all these guys landed huge heavies on him, and I haven't seen a deterioration of that chin. Really, what it comes down to for me is like, Vicente Luque had that whole issue with his some sort of brain bleed or something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but it didn't sound good. I think his durability is a little bit questionable. And one thing I think I can depend on here is that Kelvin's chin's going to hold up. He throws pretty good volume. He's a tricky kickboxer, even for the best guys. Again, on a card of it's hard to trust some people. Kelvin's one of the guys that are in my parlay arsenal this week. What about you?
Yeah, same thing. Like you said, his dietitian, or whoever's doing his diet's obviously going to be a little stressed out because it's like, Kelvin, you made sure to check out the email I sent you. It's like, yeah. It's like, did you just open up a can of pop? He's like, no. It's like, and then you hear the waiter in the back. Would you like some Parmesan on that, sir? He's like, yeah, just a little bit on the side. He's like, no, Kelvin, don't get the Parmesan. Just can't help himself. But as a result, he doesn't cut weight. He's Mexican-American. He's got part Mexican heritage. Yeah, man, he can still take one hell of a punch. His brain is full of fluids. He's got half Mexican DNA running through his blood. He can still take one. His last fight against Joe Pyfer, he got slammed twice in the first round. First is a right hook, bang, to the side of the head. You see his right arm go stiff. He hits the deck. He pops right back up, immediately recalibrates, and just gets back right at it. Then near the end of the first round, he gets dropped by another right hook, hits the deck, pops right back up, and starts fighting on. The second and the third round, he actually outlanded Pyfer in both of those rounds. He won the third, and it was actually a pretty competitive fight. Not in the first. In the second and the third, Pyfer started to slow down, and Kelvin really did it, and it's who he is. He still is very much a warrior, and although he's looking a little softer on the midsection than he used to, he doesn't wrestle as much as he used to. He's a little bit more tentative than he used to be. It's all trending in the bad directions. His hand speed's not terrible. He still can get to the target with a quick little 1-2. Being that he's out of that southpaw stance, he likes to flash the jab and then just come through with that straight left. I feel like that weapon will still be there. Vicente Luque, and I know I sound like a broken record because it's the same thing that I said about mostly just Nate Landwehr. Mostly just Nate Landwehr. Some of these guys, the older you get, you get slow. You get very slow. That explosiveness is gone. That's Vicente Luque. He's not reaching the target at all anymore. Now, it's easy to say this guy's looked really bad in his last two fights, but a lot of that comes down to the fact that Joel Alvarez is 6'3", Kevin Holland is 6'3". One guy's got a 77-inch reach. The other one's got an 81-inch reach. A jab is going to take Vincente's lunch money. He doesn't move his head, and he's not fast enough. So guys that are tall with a good jab, that's just been absolute kryptonic to him. The Joaquin Buckley fight, well, Joaquin's very explosive. He's able to get to the target. When I watch him fight, it's what's the biggest difference between Vicente Luque now and then? Is it the punch resistance? It's more so the speed. And so now he's getting hit way more than he's actually landing. He lands 4.8 strikes landed per minute. He absorbs 5.3. So you're getting hit more than you're hitting. These wars have just taken it out of him. And all of a sudden, he's not very explosive anymore. Him going to 185 would, in theory, make him the faster guy. I'm going to take on some big lumbering middleweight. Vicente has fought at middleweight. He knocked out Thiago Santos way back in the day on the regional scene at 185. In theory, this might be good for him. But you're fighting another guy who's a welterweight who's actually fast for the division as well. So you're not going to be any faster against Kelvin Gastelum. In fact, he's going to be slamming this left hand repeatedly into your head, and you're going to be pulling up short. Even his last two wins, right? Thembo Garimbo or Rafael Dos Anjos. He took Rafael Dos Anjos down 8 times. He didn't want to strike with him. Those days of going tit for tat, those days of the blood, guts, and glory fights, he does not want to do that anymore. Jeff Neal stole a part of his soul. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson stole a piece of his soul. There's another one that was way worse than that. Well, not way worse. It says he beat Nico Price. He outlanded him 130. Nico Price landed 129. His fight with Mike Perry outlanded him 87-84, had got a split decision. Brian Barberena knocked him down and landed 169 significant strikes on him. He's just taking way too much damage. Kelvin's not. Kelvin's fought Israel Adesanya in a 5-rounder for the belt and got kicked in the head. And he's taken far less damage than Vicente Luque. So what you're seeing is both these guys kind of nearing that end point of their career. But for Vicente, he's just the skill's not there anymore. Not that the skill's not there anymore. The speed's not there anymore. Whereas Kelvin can still take a punch. If you want to go punch for punch, and this might end up being one of those type of fights, Kelvin can still take a shot. And he's still got a little pop in his shot. Whereas Vicente's not knocked anybody out in 5 years. His last knockout win was coming up on 6 years ago. More than 5.5 years ago since he's knocked anybody out. Randy Brown. 5.5 years ago. So if you want to get into this tit-for-tat type fight, it ain't going to go well. If you want to try to wrestle down Kelvin Gastelum, again, he wrestled a little in college. He's a junior college guy. He's a bail bondsman, strong dude, fought better wrestlers than you, fought better grapplers than you. Are you Sean Brady? Are you Chris Weidman? No.
The Hermanson fight was like one of the worst performances of Kelvin's career.
Well,
is that on the table?
No,
probably not. But that would be like my concern, because like the thought of that fight, where it's just like Jack literally shoots a couple No, Kelvin shot the takedown.
Kelvin had him like briefly hurt and then jumped on top, and then it's like right into a heel hook. Committed 18.
How did he have him hurt with strikes landed?
Yeah, well, I guess it was just.
I have to go back and watch that fight, but
yeah, that was an all-time.
End up going back and watching that fight.
An all-time comical. If you want to look at one fight that, in my opinion, this one will closely resemble, would be the Chris Curtis fight. It's like it's going to be largely standing. Chris Curtis throws the same 1-2s. And Kelvin Gastelum, yeah, I get he headbutts him and he crashes the pocket. Well, because he crashes the pocket with his head down. His last fight with Dustin Stolfus, it doesn't start off well. First round, it's like, dude, Dustin's landing on this guy. The second and the third is where you see Kelvin's still good to fight. Kelvin's still got some gas in the tank. Kelvin's not going to lay down the gloves and retire right now. He's got 5 fights left in him. Whereas Vicente Luque, it's very much, this is the end of the line. And you're in Miami, Florida. What better place to retire than in front of some friends and family and resume a coaching position at Kill Cliff FC and help that next wave of guys. But he's getting chopped up in the gym. He's getting chopped up in the octagon and, nearing a 40-fight career. I just don't think he's really got the state of mind to take more damage and persevere. Whereas Kelvin Gastelum will, if need be. So this is again, we talked about this earlier before we even started the show. It's a card that is entertaining and it's got name value and we're excited for it, but it's like, which one of these guys can you trust? Kelvin's not someone I would say I can trust. It's comparatively to the rest of the guys on the card. Yeah, he's a top 3, top 4 guy for me this week as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the status of this. I mean, at the end of the day, Kelvin's 20-10. Vicente Luque is 23-12. There's good tape and bad tape on both of these guys. I think just Kelvin being at this weight class, whether he should have been or not, for a long time, he's gotten used to fighting against big guys. So, Vicente Luque, on the other hand, coming up, moving up to 185 for Luque, who's never really had troubles getting to 170. It kind of seems like, okay, give me a paycheck in like an easy paycheck, because I don't have to do the hardest part of it, which is cutting down that weight. Gastelum a long time ago was just like, I'm just gonna cut out the hard part of that altogether. I mean, he's tried it at 170 a couple of times. I mean, it was so comical at the weigh-ins. Him coming at 191 last time out.
And he looked really fat. He looked very fat in the cage. And I watched back the fight twice leading into our preview show. I watched it back 2 more times. And it's like, he just looks so fat. And then in the second round, the first round's not a good round, dude. The second round, it's like, it just clicks where it's like, I'm a fighter. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what I need to do to win this fight. And he just gets down to it. You mentioned Luque's got 5 more pro fights than Kelvin Gastelum. Seems even. By Vicente Luque's standard, that's 750 more significant strikes absorbed in those 5 fights. Like, he just took one too many. But you're not wrong about Kelvin. Maybe wait until you see this guy in the scale.
You may get a better price if he misses again somehow, and he looked like he's gonna probably look fat. I mean, I haven't looked at his Instagram, but I just assume Kelvin's coming in looking fat every single time.
He made 170 against
but I'm not
Sean
gonna
Brady and then looked awful. It was like, I'd rather come in fat and actually perform. And
I'm not going to overreact to Kelvin Gastelum looking fat or missing weight. Like, none of these things actually matter to me. Yeah, if he came in at 191, like, it wouldn't change my opinion. Like, could it change your opinion if he came in looking like? But that's just Kelvin. If Kelvin's gonna miss, he's gonna miss big. Why? Because he's just like, I'm already missing anyway.
I can tell you,
like, he would probably start hydrating long before he gets onto the scale. Like, that 191 is probably more like a 187. It's just like he couldn't shed that last pound. It's just like, give me some water. Like, I'm going to the scale. And he didn't care about showing up way over.
Kelvin shows up like a big fat blob, right? And Vicente Luque shows up looking shredded. To your point, it does not matter because the fight's going to be a car crash. And if you want to watch a big fat blob win a car crash fight against a jacked guy, just watch BKFC. It doesn't matter how you're built. Those short little guys, you get punched in the face 3 times and then they chuck a big overhand bomb and it lands and they win. Kelvin, he has to fight that aggressive frontward stop. He's not just going to out-jab you from the outside. He's not going to put in a 15-minute performance where he wrestles your face off the whole time. It's just making it gritty. Luque's made a career out of those wars. Just one too many, right? He's one toke over the line, Paul Shaughnessy. And so I think, this is either he's going to get knocked out and separated from consciousness or just be one punch behind the punch stats every round and end up losing a tight decision. But in either way, I think Gastelum wins it.
And finally, we've got Charles Radke taking on Francisco Prado. Radke a minus 175 favorite to come back on Prado plus 150. Where are you at with this fight?
So Charles Radke, he's like, and we talk about these guys all the time. They're 50-50 guys. If he wins, which is 50% of the time, this dude throws down, man. He's got a big old left hook on him. He certainly can wrestle. I mean, guy can get after it, rack up some control time. Coming off a rear naked choke win over Daniel Frunze's last fight. Like when he's on, he's on. He's got a lot of confidence. He's a cocky dude, and sometimes he backs it up. The other half of the time, he absolutely does not back it up. Now you can say, well, Mike Malott knocked him out, and he's a top 30 welterweight. And, Carlos Paredes knocks him out, and the guy's a top 6 welterweight. But even like Jacob Montalvo had knocked him out, or Al Montalvo had knocked him out, a few years back on the regional scene. So I don't think he's got great durability. He's 5'9" at 170 pounds. He's not a very big guy. But it's whether you are absolutely abysmal bad. And if you are absolutely abysmal bad, then he can beat you. I want to keep people in mind here that Daniel Frunze and Blood Diamond are the only 2 guys he's ever taken down before we get into this whole Charles Radke's going to out-wrestle him. So Blood Diamond...
That would be my concern as a guy who wants to bet Prado as a... I think Prado just came to the UFC too early. Like, I think the kid's got a lot of potential, but yeah, obviously, Argentinian kid coming up to the USA to train in Florida. And he just had no wrestling when he came up here. He wasn't like Kevin Vallejos. But kid's super, super durable and can, if that wrestling can come along, I think he's got potential. He got thrown to the wolves way too early. Where were you going?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's got any great wealth of potential. I think he's a pretty rudimentary guy. But to your point, yeah, he debuted in the UFC. He's 20. Now he's 23. So as much as we can write him off, you can write him off in that he's never going to be a top 10 guy, never going to be a top 5 guy. But you're not fighting a top 10 guy. You're not fighting a top 5 guy. You're fighting a fringe top 40 contender. Not a contender at all. He's just a fringe top 40 guy in the world. I feel like this is a spot that Prado can go out and win. Charles Radke's only taken down 2 opponents, that being Daniel Frunze and Blood Diamond. Daniel Frunze is 0-2 in the UFC. Blood Diamond was 0-3 in the UFC. So the 2 guys you have taken down collectively had an 0-5 record at this level. And when he takes them down, it's like he's mostly Blood Diamond, right? He got 1 takedown on 6 attempts. 1 for 6. But he holds him up against the cage for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Daniel Frunze's last time out, he did out-wrestle him 3 for 5 with 11 minutes and 41 seconds of control time prior to getting the rear naked choke. The style's pretty boring. When he decides to get into a real fight, he gets knocked out. I get he's knocked out Gilbert Urbina. I get he's knocked out Matthew Summelsberger. The Matthew Summelsberger is like the crappiest stoppage you're ever going to see. I do not know why they waved it off, but he won. And I'm not going to take that away from him. It's that he's not good at getting into these gunfights. Is that he will squirrel up and fold once the pressure gets put back on him. That's why he's been mixing his wrestling, because if he can neutralize you, if he can get you down, if he can take that path of least resistance, he'll do it. But outside of that, I really don't think he's that good of a wrestler. Francisco Prado, to your point, is not a great wrestler either. He's a young guy. He took on Jamie Malarkey in his debut, got taken down 3 times, and that's at 155. He took on Otman Azitar, knocks him out, and then the last 3, Daniel Zellhuber, Jake Matthews, Nikolai Varitnikov. Varitnikov took him down twice as well. What I want to mention, though, is Malarkey got him down 3 times and had less than 5 minutes of control time. Varitnikov got him down twice and had 2 minutes and 30 seconds of control time. It doesn't seem like he just gets taken down and just accepts it. He does try to scramble to get back up to his feet. And when he gets back up to his feet, he's plagued by, he has a 69-inch reach. So he misses almost all of his punches he comes up short on. He's just got no reach on him. Jake Matthews is over 6 foot. Zellhuber's over 6 foot. Nikolai Varetnikov's a pretty big dude. He's missing on a lot of punches. Charles Rackey's not. He's 5'9". And so he's going to try to take you down. You are either going to stuff them or you'll get taken down. You are going to scramble, get back up. And then this is not a, I have to chase this guy. This is not a, he has an educated jab on the outside. Guys that jab, guys that have footwork, they give him all types of trouble. He wants to brawl in the pocket. Charles Radke's only real striking is left hook, lead left hook, brawl in the pocket. So Prado has got to force the fight. He's got to force this to be a dirty, ugly fight, force this guy to open up with shots, and Prado's going to outland him. He's going to knock him out. The takedown, sure, it's a worry. It's that, you're at American Top Team. You've been training hard in South Florida. This is a home fight of sorts, being that you train and live in Florida. You don't have to go far to the venue. After his last loss against Varitnikov, he went to the Performance Institute in Las Vegas, spent some time. He's only 23 years old. His life, his contract, what's his career going to look like after this? You lose, you get cut, you move back to Argentina, you fight for $300 in your next fight?
Samurai House champion.
Yeah, and again, I think I said about Ribovics earlier, but it might have been for Prado, that when he signed
on an LFA Brazil.
When he signed to the UFC, he was 11-0 when he signed to the UFC. Yeah. He had a 100% finish ratio in those 11 wins. He had knocked out Jose Vargas in the first round. He had submitted a 6-0 Adrian Peroni in the first round. He was a bit of a finisher, and then unfortunately, there's a talent jump. There's expectations that you're going to be good, and Varetnikov's not bad, man. Jake Matthews is not bad. Daniel Zellhuber is not bad. I think it's easy to say that a guy's no good. Oh, man, he couldn't take down Nikolai Varetnikov. Well, he did. He got him down 3 times, but he failed to really have...
looked improved in that fight.
It did. And then with Varetnikov, it's like Varetnikov has wrestled against Michael Morales, took him down 4 times. Austin Vanderford took him down twice. Pulahane Soriano took him down 4 times. Those guys are all real middleweights. They're all big guys. They're all not real middleweights. They're all big welterweights. They're all from wrestling backgrounds. Those guys take down Varetnikov and control him. This is an undersized 22-year-old Argentinian brawler mixing in that wrestling. He also had a takedown over Jake Matthews and 1 for 6 or something. He was trying to take him down all fight and managed to get him down on one occasion.
He's not a world beater. Along.
The reach is too short. He's never going to be a top 10 guy. It's that he's going to be serviceable. He's going to be able to fight guys that want to brawl him in the pocket is where he'll be most successful. And eventually his ground game will start to catch up a little bit. I just think this is an excellent spot for him. Charles Radke's wins, all of his wins in the UFC, because again, he's lost to Paredes, he's lost to Mike Malott. I ain't going to vault him there. But his wins combined for like a 7-17 record, 5-17 record in the UFC. He beats guys that are schlubs. Prado looks like a schlub.
Diamond win was like particularly bad.
And they all booed him, and he was like, I don't care. Your guy can't wrestle. I don't care. He held him up against the cage. It was very boring. And his last fight against Frunza, he finished him. But before the stoppage, okay, he had landed 31 significant strikes. I just want to keep in mind, or I want the people to keep in mind, he had 11 minutes and 41 seconds of control time. This fight didn't go the distance. It ended in the 3rd round. They fought for 14 and a half minutes, and 11 and a half of which he was on Frunza's back. He was on top of Frunza, hip ride position. He landed 31 significant strikes. Mike Malott beat him in the 2nd round. To that point, he had landed 10 significant strikes. Him versus Carlos Paredes almost went a full round. He had landed 14 significant strikes. The Blood Diamond fight's interesting because it's his career high in strikes landed. Now, mind you, everything else has been inside the distance. Got to factor that in. But the Blood Diamond fight went the distance. He landed 35. Overall, for his UFC career, he lands 2.8 strikes landed per minute. It's very, very low. It's low. And so his opponent is throwing a ton, but missing because he's got a short-ass reach. Well, Radke, although he has a 3-inch reach advantage, he's an inch shorter, and he doesn't have an educated jab. He doesn't have good footwork. He doesn't have big head movement. Paul's not wrong. It's going to come down to the takedown. Can Charles Radke get takedowns? Can he get enough of them to neutralize Prado? Prado's going to be getting up, and Prado's going to have moments to just land that big shot and outright, take him out. So it's dog or pass, and Prado's the dog, so I'm going to take me some action there.
Yeah, I don't hate it. He made I have a short list of things that are of interest, at least as of Tuesday night of fight week. Jiri Ulberg fight doesn't go to decision. I just think that's the best parlay piece on the entire card. Yuri's never been a decision in the UFC. Been there twice in the last 14 years. Like, my chances for fight doesn't go to decisions like minus 325. So parlaying the crap out of that as more books open. I've been doing that. I've got Hokit moneyline. I like it a lot. He could get a KO. It's like plus 240 for the prop there. I'm not sold on that. I do have one book that has him like Hokit round 3 at 22-1. I mean, I'm only human. I'll probably take a shot on that. Gastelum, money line. He's one of the parlay pieces that I am trusting this week. You brought up Padilla KO. I saw plus 565. I haven't clicked it yet. I'm probably going to click it because Padilla's a dangerous man. I mean, Marquel Mederos hasn't lost, so buyer beware. But plus 565, that's enough for me to take a poke. And then Prado money line. That's where my mind's at as of Tuesday of fight week. Cody, they don't really care all that much about where my mind's at. Hit him with the PRP, kid.
There's actually a ton of underdogs, but it's like most of them are 50-50s. For example, Carlos Ulberg, technically an underdog. Paulo Costa, technically an underdog. Josh Hokit, technically an underdog. 3 in a row right there. Dominick Reyes, slight favorite. Cub Swanson, slight underdog. We're going to take Aaron Pico. Don't love that money line, but he still is the play. Going to take Randy Brown, slight favorite. Going to take Esteban Ribovics, underdog. Lupita Godinez, underdog. Chris Padilla, do like. Kelvin Gastelum, like. Francisco Prado is another underdog. We've got a bunch of underdogs, but again, plus 110, plus 115. People that are like dog of the week, plus 105, plus 110. It's hard to say that that's dog of the week, but yeah, Prado at 2-1, something like that would be a good little dog hit. Sounded like Paul mentioned Patricio Pitbull, just strictly on a value side of things. He's worthy of a shot. And again, he can hit you for like a plus 250. So one of these dogs is going to come through. I need a bunch of these moderate size, near even monies. And of course, there's a ton of value on this card. So it's only a 12-fight offering, not a 14-fight. But for PRP purposes, if you were going to hit it, this would be an excellent week to do so, being that it's a high-profile pay-per-view, but also just there's a lot of good-looking plus money across the board. If you like singles, if you like props, if you like over-unders, that all makes sense too. Maybe kind of diversify yourself so that one guy can't ruin the whole thing. But yeah, I'm expecting violence. I'm expecting a lot of entertainment. And I'm expecting the right combination to hit for at least the top 2 lines, hopefully even better than that, because again, this is a week that's going to have a lot of plus money value to be taken. Just got to get the right combination, Paul.
Yeah, it's a tough one to navigate. A full card parlay on this if you've watched this entire show, there's question marks on everybody.
The whole lot of them, yeah.
Top to bottom, even the there's question marks in the main event. Like, great card, entertaining card. Maybe it's the question marks that bring the chaos, the volatility, and that's what we love. But yeah, there's no quote unquote free. There's no Yakiaev to beat Brenson Rivero in round 1 this week. It's just there's nothing that's just like that's going to happen. Like in your loins that it's just like that's going to happen. I would say for me this week, it's like. Yeah, it's that fight doesn't go to decision in Prochazka Ulberg. There's a possibility that Ulberg minds his P's and Q's. I just think that Prochazka is just that guy that's just like, He's not going to accept defeat in that way. He's going to throw himself into the fire and maybe die doing it, because that's what he's kind of done over and over the course of his career.
Yeah, I kind of look at the main card, and it's like Jiri versus Ulberg. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to decision, man. Curtis Blaydes versus Hokit. I don't think it's going to decision. Dominick Reyes versus Johnny Walker. There's no way it's going to decision. Cub Swanson versus Nate Landwehr. Very low probability it's going to decision. If Pico loses, chances are he ain't losing a decision. Once you get to the prelims, though, Kevin Holland, Randy Brown, Gamrot, Ribovics, Suarez, Godinez, Mederos, Padilla, Gastelum, Luque, Radke, Prado. I think 5 of the 6 are going to decision.
There's a lot of decision possibility there.
Yeah, a lot of decisions on the prelims and
Gastelum,
absolute
Luque,
violence on the main card.
I guess Gastelum doesn't really finish anybody too much
Really,
these days,
he really doesn't, and he's not enough of a submission threat to maybe snatch up the neck or something like a Kevin Holland did. Or okay, it's worth noting that Vicente Luque's last fight against Joel Alvarez, he gets punched in the eye. He claims it's an eye poke. He sits there for 2-3 minutes. They come back to like it's a legal punch. He's like, oh, sorry, and then resumes fighting. So that's the difference between losing a first-round TKO and a fight goes the decision. The sport's got no rhyme or reason, man.
It's crazy sometimes.
Yeah, I read a cool thing the other day. It was like, people often discuss puncher's chance, which is a concept that we've invented and don't fully understand. And it's true. It's like this guy's got a puncher's chance and he's never knocked out a guy before. Or this guy's only win condition is he lands some random punch. How can you process that just some random punch will be landed? You can't. Last week, of course, Chris Duncan really was no good in the main event, but we had that head-to-head opportunity. I'm not looking to complain about that one. I'm not. I'm just very objectively speaking for the purposes of rambling on the show. If you look at Melissa Gatto loses, but she could have taken a DQ win. Or Orlando Venata is a better example. Orlando Venata easily wins the first round. He gets the takedown. He's doing his thing. Yeah, he grabs onto a guillotine. Flowers slams out of the guillotine, and he says it wasn't a popped rib. He says basically it hit his liver, which froze him up. The round ended. He felt fine, and then he's claiming that he got headbutted in the beginning of the second round, which ended up with him losing. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's excuses. Maybe it's sour grapes. Maybe that's the fight game. You can have a ticket that's 11 of 13 winners, and yeah, one girl could have got a DQ win, and one guy got slammed when he shouldn't have been holding onto the guillotine. It's just thin margins, right? And these fights are competitive enough that if you ran it 10 times, you'd have a definitive winner. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would see it's 5-5 aside, but you only get one crack at it. Yeah. Like if you were to tell somebody, if you're sitting in a bar and you were to tell somebody the Baltimore Orioles are a better baseball team than the LA Dodgers, it's just nobody believes that. Now you say this and you watch the game and Baltimore wins. And if you look at the guy and you say, I told you Baltimore's a better baseball team, you're still not right. They're a crappy team. They're a worse team than the Dodgers. But, in theory, if they play them, they absolutely could win the game. Yeah, but they play 180 times a season, you're going to see they're not a good team. Yeah, there's one crack at it. The guy could be good. He could be bad. There's guys like Lucas Brzezinski who have one win in the UFC, 1-6, and the one wins Walter Walker. It's a crazy sport. We love it. But you, of course, expect the unexpected.
Here's a better example: the World Baseball Classic, which concluded just before regular season. Venezuela won the tournament. Why? Because baseball is a game where truth is discerned over a massive sample size. They play 162 games plus playoffs, 5-game series, 7-game series. So it's just like if you win the World Series, it's like you've played 180 games, That's where kind of truth comes in. Like any given day, somebody can, there's a little tinge off of their curveball and they leave it hanging out over, like they're all professionals at the end of the day. You leave your chin up, you have your hands down, something just sneaks through your guard a little bit. I mean, it's punchy kicky. That's just the way she goes.
Here's the best
sometimes
one.
Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't go.
We will leave.
That's just the way she goes
on this one. But we bet a little LFA last week, and the first 85% of the card is rolling. There's only 2 fights left. And we're perfect to this point. We've hit underdogs. We've hit plus money totals. We are just rolling. And a tornado touches down. They evacuate the building. These guys warmed up backstage. The lights turned off. The lights came back on. They finished that Jake Woodley fight. They evacuate the building. 2 hours later, they come back. They warm up for the third time that night and fight 2 hours later. And we got crushed in the last. Wow, we had David Wright. But we had
the first one I was just like, all right, baby.
No, because I had the over in that one as well.
Because he was from Oklahoma. Greedy. I had a theory that like these guys from like the Midwest or like that Tornado Alley were gonna do well. And I was right, because the one guy from Oklahoma City, which is just up the road from that casino, he ran right through his opponent. So I was just like, all right, Tornado. You know, the guy is no big deal. He grew up here. He's from around here. They have tornadoes all the time. But then our guy from Nebraska got absolutely flatlined.
Yeah, I know the worst part about heavyweight. Yeah, the worst part.
He was like I could have. He was like Hokit size, but like without any of the athletic. Niall Bartling.
Yeah, he was on the Ultimate
Fighter. He had none of the athleticism that you would speak of with a guy like Josh Hokit.
Yeah, the funny thing there is that Niall Bartling wrestled a semester at Ohio State and then transferred out to Nebraska. It's a D1 program. And to your point, he's not nowhere near. To be a D1 All-American, I don't think people realize just exactly how difficult it is. And in Hokit's case, it's like, yeah, Josh Hokit wrestled Bo Nickel in college. That Jake Woodley guy, he had wrestled him in college. That guy's multiple-time champion himself. There are levels to it. I always say a junior college national champion could transfer to a D1. My buddy EJ Brooks, he won a junior college national champion. He transferred to Missouri, right? And D1 program.
I haven't heard in a long time.
That guy's a solid dude.
Substance Cage Combat 1.0. Was he on it?
We went to the strip club afterwards, and then he's like, the girl's like, "Hey, I take you to the back and I show you a good time," and then he's like. Yeah, he's like, because I'm from Missouri. He's like, in Missouri, when they tell you take you in the back and show you a good time, it means so. She's like, no, we can't do that. It's illegal in Canada, right? He's like, oh, okay. Some other girl comes by, she says something. He's like, he's looking around. We're like, yeah, these chicks are pretty hot. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm from Missouri. He's like, in Missouri, they recruit you right out of high school. They hang outside the high schools and they recruit you. And he's like, it's kind of the top girl. As soon as you graduate, it's like, boom, you graduate right to the strip clubs. Like, all right. So we're getting ready to leave. And then this girl's like, well, are you in town for a few days? He's like, no, I got a flight tomorrow, taking off back to Missouri. She's like, oh, well, why don't we just go to the back real quick and I'll show you a good time. I'll send you off with a bang. He's like, listen, lady, nice. when you tell someone in Missouri you're going to send them off with a bang, he's actually him, Jeremy Oshie, Jameson Sardino.
You tell any guy in that moment that you're going to send him home with a bang, he's going to take it a certain way.
Especially if you're from Missouri. No, I'm saying. And then we went through a ride program. Jeremy Oshie's from Denver, so there's a bag of weed in the car. He's like, it's okay. Like, you make great memories of people along the way. Matchmaking's been awesome. Been part of the fight community's being awesome. Just this is what we do, dude. We love the fight game. We love the fighters. You want to respect all these guys. Mentioned that Dakota Hope last week. Like, this guy's such a good dude. You don't want to root for these guys to lose. You're not rooting for Nate Landwehr to lose. But when it comes to putting money on this, and I got 3 kids and myself to feed, and a wife, and a mortgage, that I need Nate Landwehr to lose. I need Dakota Hope to tight split decision, dog. Could have gone either way. But you're kind of hoping for someone else's demise and downfall to help your own cause. So it's a greasy business. It's a greasy game. But again, it's something that we love deep down. So that's why we do it.
Yeah, Hope versus Kamaka. It's like that was razor close. People were split down the board in the Discord. And if you looked at like other models and stuff like that, damn close, man. Like, it was one of those fights. It's just like very likely could have gone either way. So on top of all these things of us talking about, betting on humans, people have bad days, crazy things happen. You also have to bet on humans, 3 humans, cage side to get things right. So, it's never easy. It's always fun. It's always exhilarating. That's why we keep bringing we keep coming back for more after God knows how many years at this point. Cody probably knows off the top of his head, but I'm too old for that.
Yeah, we're going on year 13. We started off in 13 years in the game. But
I was looking through YouTube today.
we were much
I just
better
wrote in
looking
like
13 years
MMA
ago.
predictions for like SEO reasons.
Yeah.
And there was like, and it's probably because I'm old, but it's just like there were so many shows, and I have no idea who any of these people are. Like when we first started, there was probably 3 or 4 different shows, and it was mostly just like podcasts, like audio podcasts. There's hundreds of shows now. So
Yeah, well,
thank you to the people who choose us out of a multitude of options and people who've kind of stuck with us through thick and thin through all the years. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, you know, that's probably the best way to leave things off, man. You're right. Been around for a long time, and it's the fans that keep the thing driving, right? If people didn't take time to come in and tune every week and tune in and, you know, give their opinions and engage with you and listen to your show and give you a like and give you a retweet or a subscribe or whatever, it just helps the algorithm go. But you know, when we started it, I always give shout out to Luca Fury because he was the only guy that did any type of preview show, and it would be like a main card only preview for Sure Dog Radio. Yep. And he was the only guy doing it, man. You'd find random videos on a Strikeforce preview here or there, but no consistency, no full cards. I kind of looked to Luca Fury as like when I was like, who else is doing this? He was doing this. And then Daniel Levy from Best Fight Picks. He was right around the same time as us. And so when I look at him, same thing. He's had 1,000 shows. He's been in the game for 13 years. And so there's a level of respect. Anybody can come in with the heater. Right? I'm living proof that you can have one really good year, 2021. You hit 2-3 PRPs in a row, 2 UFC PRPs, Bellator PRP, all in the span of 3 weeks. You're crushing 38 straight picks. You can be that guy, right? It's that, can you continue it? Not to that level, but can you have a yearly profit? Can you have a bad year and rebound from that? Do you have enough bankroll management, or do you fall by the wayside? There's other guys. You remember Rockstar Z? He had a good thing going. Manpreet, I like Manpreet in his own way. You know, he's hardworking and he's obviously passionate for fights, but he screwed up when it came down to taking other people's money, and he kind of got banished from the scene. But you know, it's tough to be honest. It's tough to be hardworking. It's tough to just not mail it in because, you know, you can attest. Let's say we've done 1,000 shows. How many shows have you missed of our entire run?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. How many have I missed? How many?
I mean, I mean, not to get too deep, it's like both of my parents have died over the course of us doing this show. So it's like, I think I've probably missed a show or 2 around those periods of times.
I honestly thought the number was 3. And
not many.
That's 3 over the course of 13 years. Mm-hmm. And
you've never missed one.
I've never missed a show ever.
Never missed a show. I mean, so the show is, you can replace me.
You can't.
Things up. I mean, sometimes I need somebody to talk 5 minutes about a dusty women's MMA fight, and there's nobody better than Cody to get to our minutes limit that we need. But I mean, now we're going 2 hours every single week. You know, we haven't been skimping on the minutes for the last little bit. But no, I think it's probably a good little thing. Anyway, we'll stop jerking each other off and let you guys go. If you're interested in more stuff, Cody has a Discord. Link is in the description. I'm in and out of there. Sometimes I share tips on whatever I'm actually interested in betting that week. So like I'll share some tips probably on fight day for the UFC card. If there's any sort of regional stuff that I get onto, I'll share them in the little tabs there. But it's Cody's baby now. We started it together.
Wow, Paul's a very honorable member. But yeah, no, this week we got EFC Africa, 1 championship in the morning, PFL Africa, Aries FC, which I'm dead to me. 1 championship nighttime, Game Bred Bare Knuckle MMA.
There's an ACA card, but I'm not doing it, bro.
There's an ACA. There's an
I've been burned by that promotion too much this year on like crazy decisions and like, I don't know. We have Russia in the middle of a war with Ukraine, and like the guy who runs the promotion is like kind of owes Putin stuff. Like I've seen some crazy. We started out really well with it. the last 6 months, I have seen some like really dodgy decisions, weird game plans, just to the point it's just like I don't really want to lay chalk. I'll probably like have like an underdog play or two, but like probably no like PRPs or anything will be coming from your boy. I've gotten beaten up by that card, that promotion enough that I'm willing to sit back on the sidelines a little bit. I announced that in the Discord.
They're like Magomed Aliaskarbov. If you lose, we use this money to build 4 more drones. It's like you think the guy's
and if you win, we kill your family.
And then we use their assets to build 4 more drones. It's like they're gonna get the drones either way. I might as well just take the
weird stuff. So I'm kind of taking a break from it.
If you're one of these Chris Holdsworth guys or Lance Palmer who fight down there, it's like, buddy, they're giving you a bottle of water.
Hamdi's fighting.
You're having a sip off the water. All of a sudden, your legs don't feel like you got any.
Hamdi Abdelwahab is on the card this week. Brett Primus making his ACA debut.
ACA's signed a lot of the
wrestlers go
guys.
to die.
Yeah, I know. Sidney Outlaw, although he looks pretty good down there.
He looks good down there.
You can use steroids. I don't think Sidney Outlaw's on steroids for the record.
Nobody's testing
but everybody else is on steroids down there for sure.
100%.
For sure. They'll admit it themselves. It's not
you
even
should really make sure before you sign an ACA. If you're a professional fighter looking to give yourself 6 months to cycle on because your opponent has been on for at least 6 years. They go from ACA. KSW is pretty similar too. Who was that? Mate. I forget. Either way. His Bellator fights, this guy, and his KSW fights doesn't look like the same person.
No, because you think you're fighting some guy that looks like me, and then you end up fighting a guy that looks like this. So they're gonna get you one way or another. That's it for me, though, Paul.
Yeah, that is it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. For Cody, I'm Paul. Saying goodbye and good luck.